On screen. On screen.
What the hell is going on?
Engage. I want all the power you can give me.
I'm not sure I have a specific recommendation.
Not good enough, damn it! Not good enough! Any idea of what it is or where it came from?
I'm not sure I have a specific recommendation.
This is no longer amusing.
They seem normal enough. I shouldn't be so confident.
Make it so. I would rather outthink them than outfight them. Engage! On screen. Let's investigate. Enlarge and identify.
I shouldn't be so confident.
Engage!
I'm not sure I have a specific recommendation.
I want all the power you can give me. Strange.
Slow to impulse speed.
Stay calm, everyone.
What the hell is going on? I'm not sure I have a specific recommendation.
Stay calm, everyone. Let's investigate. This is no longer amusing. Macro head. Stay calm, everyone.
Slow to impulse speed.
I would rather outthink them than outfight them. Engage!
Slow to impulse speed.
Strange.
Slow to impulse speed.
Not good enough, damn it! Not good enough!
They seem normal enough. I'm not sure I have a specific recommendation.
I'm Captain Picard. Engage! Move to intercept. How about all the power you can give me? Make it so.
In my opinion, sir, they're gibberish.
How about all the power you can give me?
I shouldn't be so confident.
Engage!
I'm not sure I have a specific recommendation.
How about all the power you can give me? Strange.
Slow to impulse speed.
Oh, baby. Give me that box. Oh, yeah. It's tonight.
So we're doing something tonight.
What the hell are we doing? You just showed me. You just told me to show up, so I showed up.
I hate to tell you, Big, but we need to have a discussion. It's about your timelines addiction. It's time we sat down and spoke about this. You're not doing enough.
Let he who is without dilithium cast the first stone.
I think we all need interventions for each other at this
yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Speaking of how my shuttles come back in, we thought we'd just do a chilled out stream, talking about nothing or everything about Star Trek, about ourselves, anything in chat or whatever. So Stars should hopefully be along here to join us at some point, and I think this was your idea, Otto. What brought this on? What thought, we should catch up and
Germany is now 2G plus, so to go anywhere or do anything, you need to be vaccinated. You need to have a same-day test. So I have no social. Well, I do have. I'm going out to the pub on Thursday with my buddy, and that's gonna be our only shot to get together before the holidays. But other than that, I can't do anything. So it's like, all right,
You have
boys,
to
you
go
want
out
to
in
get
like
together and talk nonsense?
Yeah.
You have to go out in like a full hazmat suit or something? Is that where we're at?
They mist you with this like antibacterial spray when you walk through the doors. It gets in your eyes, it stings.
Wasn't there a TNG episode about that, about the unclean or something like that? You know, certain people that didn't have the right vaccinations were cast into the underworld, and Picard had to come along and sort of reunite the two factions. That sounds like a TNG episode, definitely.
There's a Voyager episode with Dejarin, the homicidal
Oh yeah,
hologram.
is that how you're feeling?
Who,
That old chestnut.
he goes crazy on B'Elanna for being filthy, unclean, pagan
Yeah.
humanoid.
He's a 200% boom, isn't he? This is the state this game has done to me now. I watch episodes and go, oh yeah, he's a dipsec, or you know, he's a good Voyager, or he's terrible. No, you don't want to take him. Let's skip this episode.
Yeah.
Oh, you see this? You see
This
the one
episode's
frame-
just full of skillets.
You see the one scene, the one scene where they have that one frame where they're doing the timelines pose, and you're like, there it is.
Yeah.
It's ruined me now. It's ruined me. Oh hey, stars in the chat. Get in here.
We couldn't
Save
meet
us.
his appearance fee, so he's like, fuck you guys.
Oh yeah, we have to pay royalties to the Andgarters Society.
Speaking of this show, I was listening to an old episode today. Don't judge me. And I realized that I said I had the dude Funko, but he never made it onto the show.
that's
So
Have you got
So
a White
there's
Russian with you as well?
no. I've got the dude and I've got Picard, and that's all I have. I'm not a big Funko guy,
I
but
don't like them really. I'm not a fan.
I don't mind displaying them.
I know Low Cost Monkey had like a big sort of stack of them, didn't he, in the background when he was on the other week.
I have an Alex Trebek Funko Pop and a
Big Jeopardy fan.
and a Mandalorian bobblehead
No, nice.
with it's him and Grogu. Those were both Christmas presents, and they're at my desk at work.
Big
But that's
Jeopardy
the
fan.
extent of my collection.
What about a regular DeLorean from like Back to the Future? Instead of a Mandalorian? I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Killing the show early, I see.
It's 9:34. I've been asleep for the last 5 hours. It's a Sunday. I don't have to make sense.
No, we don't. We don't today. We've got no schedule. I'm slightly worried about myself today though, because I was saying this to Big before the show while you were out, Auto. So I picked up my beer from my shelf, and I was like, I'm gonna get this one I drink. I'll start stout tonight, and it's called Roaster Coaster, and it is a Nitro Imperial Vietnamese coffee stout. I didn't realize
Well, let's see it.
it's 9%. And I was like, okay, maybe this is the only one I have of these tonight, because
The elephant beer.
drinking like a fortified wine, I have to maybe take this one slowly. Walt says his brother's selling some on eBay. DM him for details. There we go. There's the hustle. Get on that Funko Pop MLM stream. MLM.
So we need to have the Funko Pop NFTs, and then we'll just have the whole.
Don't. I
The
reckon
whole
there is
thing.
someone that is doing that. There's got to be a Funko Pop. I fucking hate NFTs. Who decided that was going to be a thing?
I have no idea what NFTs are, and at this point, I'm too afraid to ask. So
No, you're better for it. Just
Yeah.
just don't.
You're happy and not
Don't even
knowing.
look into it. So meanwhile, I decided to go in an iodine and Band-Aids direction, and have maybe the most notorious eyeless
The
scotch available, the Lafroig,
Mm.
which is
what'd you call
48% idle.
Yeah,
So,
okay,
uh,
but you're not drinking a pint of it. Come on.
it? Well, maybe.
Have you seen some of these shows before?
Well, okay.
Don't write me off just yet.
All right, I have, and this one's coming up next. The Crafty Brewing Company, and there's a little mustache on there.
Nice.
It's an IPA that is fruity and hoppy.
Okay, answer me this, guys. When, like, I assume you guys drink wine. Do you drink wine? When the occasion
Yeah, I
comes.
prefer dry red.
Yeah,
generally.
no, fair enough. When you go to the shop, what is your barrier for entry for buying the wine? Do you look on the back and go, oh yeah, these grapes at this time of season? Or are you like me and you go, oh, there's an animal on the cover, I'm going to buy that one. There's a giraffe on this one, this must be good.
No, see, the bottle doesn't even enter into it. I just look down below it at the price tag, and it's like, oh, that's under $15. Sold.
50 fucking Daddy Warbucks. They have to pay me to take it off the premises. Like if it broke and some of the wine spilled out, I'm like, it's still good. It's still good. And I'm sweeping it up.
No. Well, yeah, it's like, and if it has a handle on the side of the bottle, then
Yeah.
that's when we're getting
If it
into,
comes in a plastic jug with a, a handle on the side,
or a
this will
box.
get me right fucked up.
So there's a wine they sell here, which is technically not wine, but it's on the bottom shelf, and it looks like a nice wine bottle. And it's called Shy Pig, and it's one of the cheapest ones you can buy. It's not like the sort of brain rot stuff. It is still sort of like a general social wine, but it does say on the back it's not grapes from a certain region. It is a wine-based product, so it's not actually wine. It's just.
So it's the Kraft American cheese of wine.
Yes, it is.
That's the Breyers ice cream of wines.
Plastic bottles of Cretan wine and Greece. They have so much. Just put it in water. Yeah. Stars, get in here. Come on. Charge your headphones.
Yeah, Stars, tell us about your massive Seder cock bottle that you bought for your boyfriend while you were in Crete. I want to hear that story again.
I've not heard that one.
You were there for that one.
Was I? Oh,
Yeah, it was on the stream.
memory like a sieve. How many years ago was this? Don't
I
tell me
might
it was
have
last
even
week.
been there for that one.
Yeah, I think you were.
Yeah.
And then I talked about the big book of butts. So
Does it lie?
I feel like I'm in a TNG episode where no one has any recollection, and I'm the only one that remembers the sequence of
It'll all start
events.
disappearing, and you'll be trapped in your own warp bubble.
There's nothing wrong with
They
me.
left the clues.
There must be something wrong with Timeline Stocks.
Humans can't resist a mystery.
Is that
That's
your
time.
Picard?
No, well, I mean, it was a
fine.
very half-assed attempt at it, and then
I was
just
transported to another realm.
failed it.
By the way, folks, don't forget your faction event shuttles if you're watching along.
I've got 10%
Oh.
battery and 40 minutes.
I know
left,
our
so that's
easy bands can just suck you in, lull you in, but
So this is the problem. I've been playing a game called Satisfactory at the moment. It's one of those games you can kind of get lost in, and I've been making the mistake of playing that at the same time I've been running these shuttles. So I'll be playing for a minute, and I'll go, oh shit! Look at the clock and go, oh Christ, these are like 20 minutes overdue. Right, okay.
yeah. Yeah, Namer and I were saying, because we were working on the big book. He's coding, I'm authoring. And I'll notice like an hour and a half later that I haven't looked up yet, and I'm like, oh shit, my shuttles came back an hour ago, so it happens all the time.
And you're what, rank 12 at the moment? 13, something like that?
Something like that.
High up. I don't think I've been this high in the scoreboard for anything. I wasn't even
I like
planning for it.
factions for pushing. It's the most like physically comfortable without destroying your brain.
It's such an easy event. It's weird. Like,
No,
'cause
it's good.
I was going for top 100. I thought, yeah, I'll do that. Get my 3 humanoid figures, and then just start pushing shuttles. I pushed 24 last night because I got a shitload of tokens, a shitload of boosts, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, hang on, I'm in like 32. Okay, let's go. Apparently I am. That's what's happening.
No, both times that I made really big runs in faction events, it kind of worked out that way. I wasn't like I was shooting for maybe top 100, and then maybe 1 or 2 runs in, and the rank would just jump way up, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I guess I'm here now.
I think if you're putting
Might as
everything
well-
into it to sort of, because you don't want to say I'm shooting for 100, you want to shoot for like 50, don't you? Just to give yourself a bit of breathing room. And if you do that, you sort of send so many shuttles, like, yeah, it depends on the
and
competition
to
as
get
well.
get the coveted Timelines Talks shout out, right?
Oh, of course, not that we have a Timelines Talks this week that I can shout myself out on. Damn it.
Yes, we do. Why do you keep saying that?
Well, we do. We have the doc episode, but we're doing that as more a well,
Docsember.
Docsember.
I'm sure we can do
Oh,
a
okay,
shout.
alright.
We'll do a shout out too,
because we have to because we're on it. We wouldn't otherwise.
Look, I'm an altruistic
now.
guy. I want to make
Way
sure
to
that
jinx
everyone
the whole thing.
feels welcome.
If you can't toot your own horn, when can you?
My wife has been baking an incredible amount of cookies. Yesterday was double chocolate with caramel chunks and chocolate chip cookies, and today was cranberry macadamia cookies.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a big cardboard box over there with individually wrapped bags of cookies. And she mails them because she plays World of Warcraft. So she mails stuff regularly out to all of her guildies. Like 15, 20 guildies. She sends cookies and sweets. And If
So
you
come
guys
on.
play World of Warcraft, Warcraft,
like,
yeah, that's about
we're
right.
in the,
You
the
should-
same fleet as Auto, aren't we? Where's our?
We're in the same squadron as
know.
Otto. I mean,
Yeah, but
let's
you
not.
don't play World of Warcraft, so
Well, I
can't
mean,
help
right
you.
now, I was doing the mental math right now on whether a, 4-figure cost of a plane ticket is going to be worth it to get out there and get some of those cookies, and I think it might be.
I've told my buddies before if they pay, because the shipping can be kind of outrageous from here to the States. If they paid the shipping, I am happy to fill a box with whatever sweets I can find here, homemade or otherwise. So, but no one's taken me up on that yet.
Since we're on food, come on. What was dinner? Oh, I suppose Big, you've just had lunch, haven't you? This is
Yeah.
time zone thing. What was your recent food? Come on, what was dinner, lunch tonight?
Dinner tonight is going to be nachos.
Ooh.
Homemade nachos that I
Are you
just.
serving them in the hat or is it on the table?
Well, that's up to my wife. I don't want to speak for her, but I did just have to buy the chips for it because we use grocery pickup for our grocery store, and she put in the order for the chips that she was going to need for the nachos, and your standard big triangular tortilla chips. And they substituted in those tiny little round bastards. That
The ones that never hold the weight and they break in half every time.
yeah, and you cannot make sufficient nachos with that. It's just not going to work. So I had to go out and rectify that this afternoon.
There's some comedian, I forget which one, but he does a whole bit about nachos and the cheese nucleus. And if you pull and it pulls out the whole nucleus with it, you can't take that. That's like stealing the whole. You have to be equitable and fair to people.
It's like taking the slice of pizza and then it pulls the cheese off the slice next to it.
A bit like we
No,
don't
you
do,
don't. That's
yeah,
not free cheese.
We
You
don't
put
do
it back.
nachos like as a dinner here. Well, at least I don't in the dinner. Like, do you just have like the big sharing platter in front of you? Because I've had them at pubs, just like sharing with the mate. But do you like as a main dinner? Do you just have a lot of it, or?
He's American. He's from Texas.
Oh, okay. So sorry, silly question.
Got the truck, boys. Back it up.
It's just one large tortilla
Yeah,
chip
so
with a cow on it.
they'll bring out the sharing plate of nachos and they'll set it in front of me, and then everybody can wait for their plates too.
See, Big is the alpha lion, so all the huntresses wait their turn behind him, and when he's had enough from his plate, he moves on, and then all the kids and the women flood the plate.
Fantastic.
No, actually, it's funny. My daughter, our baby daughter, who's 2, anytime anybody has food, she will get up with me. She will get up on the table and sit on the other side of my plate and just like bite, bite, and she's not gonna leave until she has had sufficient samples of your food. And it goes for everybody.
That's
When-
basically me with my cats. Yeah.
I hate. I'm kind of the Joey in this situation. I hate sharing my food. So whenever we go out for a meal with Louis, with my wife, and we sit and we get a dessert, especially desserts. I don't mind about my mains too much because you get a lot of that. But desserts, you kind of get smaller portions. So I have to order what she's having because I know the first thing she says is like, "Can I try a bit of that?" I'm like, "No, you should have ordered it." Every time.
I was like that, but she broke me early on in the marriage. So I'm like, all right, I'll share with you, but you're the only one I'll share with. So
Oh, you softy.
yeah, but then now we have 3 cats, and so I share with 4 women in the house. So
Yeah, don't take my storytelling to mean that I enjoy sharing food in any way at all, and my wife knows it, but she lets it happen anyway. Anyway,
It's funny how
By the way,
possessive
Big,
you can get.
if you're gonna share any streams, any timelines talks with your family, this would probably be the one because they'll probably learn a thing or two about you along the way. She's like, what the fuck are shuttles? Go back to the nacho talk, please.
yeah.
It's a big. Do you do the thing? Do you do the thing when you're eating something and the kids come and go, "Oh, what you got? Can I try something?" You go, "It's spicy. Don't have it."
That's a cheat code. You can't go to the well too often.
Yeah, they figure it out. Well, or see, the flip side of that is it actually is spicy, and then you let them try it, and then it's a sneak attack. Yeah.
It's like, it's spicy, but do you want to try it? Because my elder son is a bit of a pig. He just self-describes himself as an eating machine. He will just clear plates, and the other one doesn't want to bother. But he will like finish his dinner, and I'll sort of half finish mine. He look at mine going, you're gonna, and you can tell him he wants to say it, and I'm just like, I'm looking at him going, go on, just ask. Here you go.
But see, the thing is, it's in the at least for now, I come out better in these deals anyway, because what happens is, everybody has their food, and then they'll eat half of it, and then it's like, oh, are we ready to clear the plates? And it's like, yeah, clear the plate.
Yeah. My youngest one,
Especially
is
if it's like a taco night or something like that. It's just like I make out like gangbusters. It's like I get my 2-3 tacos or whatever, and then I eat like the equivalent of like another 3, just from the leftovers of everybody else.
So since my youngest, yeah.
You can't throw away tacos. I'm sorry. You just it's not done.
You can't waste food.
Yeah.
We sit at the dinner table, and like I realised, like, since my youngest has been sitting up and having like full meals with us, I realised, like, oh yeah, this is why I haven't been having breakfast so often. It's because I've just been finishing his dinners and just overstuffing myself. It's ridiculous.
Chat, what are you guys up to tonight? You guys are kind of quiet.
Watching us.
Yeah.
Obviously
Yeah.
not a lot.
Watching us and just wondering, it's like, well, when is the show actually going to start? Is this the show?
This is the show.
It's a pre-roll.
Yeah.
We were talking we might play What the Dub later if it gets real slow, but we'll see. But also, what was your dinner tonight?
Apparently, we can do like 4 hours on food. So.
Oh yeah, too right.
I don't think we need to worry about that.
I will take my computer up into the kitchen. We will do some live stream cooking. Let's go.
Yeah, tonight was creamy chicken taquitos.
Ooh, both go in the Mexican.
So I had a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I did. I stopped at the Mexican market on the way home before getting the chips, because my wife is a sucker for pan dulce.
What's
like
that?
the Mexican style. It's like, well, there's different kinds of them, but the ones she really likes are the conchas. They kind of look like big pastry, like conch shells or something.
All right. Hey.
But yeah, they're just big sweetbreads. But they're not. They're kind of mildly sweet, so they're actually really nice. And
Almost
she's a sucker for them.
pretzelish, kind of.
I mean, a little sweeter than that. I mean, it's hard to describe if you don't know what it is. But yeah, they're really good. My wife loves them, so I just, whenever I can kind of sense that it's time for like a little treat of some kind, maybe once a month, something like that, I'll just go out there unprompted and just buy a couple of bags full and just bring them home, and then everybody's happy. And
No.
so,
Mr. O'Garters, welcome to the round table.
Is it round? There's 4 of us. That's a square table.
Depends where
Yes,
you
but we're
sit.
talking food, so we're pretty round at the moment.
I mean, it
Fair.
looks like rectangular on my screen, but who am I to judge?
Yeah, man, this shit to be square. It's fine.
No, hang on. This is the 4 pillars of Timelines Talks. This is what keeps it up and running.
Hustle, flow, dilithium, requisition tokens.
Oh, speaking of, 28 minutes. We're fine.
Yeah, there you go. You're fine.
I still got 2 hours, man. You're
I'm running.
I
I'm running.
I accidentally sent out 9-hour shuttles, so we have another 8:30 to do on this stream before I can.
So I'm running 4. My core 4 are on the 3-star timer, so they're running at an hour and a half, and I'm running 10 on the 2Xs. So
You
basically,
just gave away your strategy. Now
it's
they're going
fine.
to pass
They
you.
can have it. It's too late now. If you're sitting there at 3,000 and you're hoping to get up here at 13, come on then.
All right, how many of you guys?
Don't tease shy upon like that.
How many of you guys know the segment? You guys in chat know the segment from Conan O'Brien where they do in the year 3000 or 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they do like in the future. They do whatever topical stuff. We keep talking about doing that segment on the show, but I'm not sure we're well enough equipped at improv humor to pull that off. We might have to script some of those.
Yeah, we did talk about that a couple of months ago. It's still in our show notes, I think, right at the bottom. We got a little section that says future stuff, and it just has that in it, I think.
Yeah, it's future stuff, and it doesn't even have an underline. That's how seriously we take that section of the show notes.
I know, because we've already gone through the rest of our future stuff. It's completely bereft of ideas.
Yeah,
at
we have
this
no
point.
other future.
No,
It's
that's it.
all
We're done.
just
We're just panicking.
we live
to
week by
now.
week.
Week to
Yeah.
week is another Command IPSec Voyager we have to moan about.
There's even a little mustachio on the cap
Oh,
for
nice.
it too.
That's cool. Stars, how are you?
I'm ill.
Oh,
Have been
no.
for the last week.
Yeah.
My left ear refuses to pop, so the pressure is unbalanced in here. So if I'm a little bit loopy, that's why.
Dude,
I just
people are
got
trying
finished
to
from-
eat. Please, come on.
I mean, it's not gonna like suddenly pop and like stuff is gonna come out. It's just a case of like it
That
literally
would be
just.
cool.
Do you know that? Are you sure?
To be fair, if it's gonna pop anything and spurt anything, it'll be blood. So like that's a different. That's a centerpiece of the show right there. That's something that
great.
Auto can go to on the timestamp and be like, go to here.
There's-
I've appeared shirtless before, so I probably shouldn't be heckling someone else about not keeping their food down. You know,
We've seen everything. We've seen
I've seen it all.
Yeah.
It's too late. I've seen everything.
I agree so hard. If anyone hasn't seen that, that's the there's this TV show called Extras with what's his name?
Ricky
Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais,
Yeah.
that's sort of like in he's like a failed or sort of like a background actor, isn't he? And he ends up interviewing Patrick Stewart in his trailer, and it's fantastic. Single best thing he's ever
Well,
done.
there's also one with David Bowie, which I think is just as
Yeah.
funny.
Oh, I don't know if I've seen that one.
Yeah. It's,
Oh,
you
it's
haven't?
hilarious.
No, I don't think
Oh.
I love David Bowie as well.
Because he has a conversation with him, and then David Bowie walks up to the piano, and he just starts singing about like, "Poor little sad bastard."
No, I have seen that. No,
Yeah.
I've seen that.
yeah, I mean the four things you have to see on extras is the Patrick Stewart thing, the David Bowie thing, the Kate Winslet thing,
Haven't seen that
and
one.
then
No, I'm not.
and then the Ian McKellen bit on acting.
Like oh yeah,
Yeah,
So there's
yeah.
another,
It's just like
Yeah.
what's it?
there's
You
another
see,
one with,
I'm
so, yeah, there's another show with Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant. I can't remember the name of it. And it's also got Warwick
Anything
Davis.
abroad?
Sorry, no, not that one. It's got Warwick Davis Jr. Jr.'s
The-
involved in it as well.
I've only seen that clip
Oh.
with Liam Neeson
That's the
on
one
there.
I was going to talk about. Liam Neeson when he's like, I could do comic acting.
I've gone around.
Yeah.
I'm completely riddled with chlamydia.
I have full blown AIDS. It's fucking brilliant.
I take it back, Big. This is not the episode of Show to Your Family.
we've sort of taken a turn at this point.
Stars turned up. It went blue.
And I was even the one to initiate, oddly enough. Incidentally, Walt, I am sitting at around about what rank 300? I think I'm 300.
Nice.
It's 757 is
I'm not
good.
Yeah,
You're still within striking distance. That's fine.
Oh yeah, push a few.
Yeah, as
more,
long as you've got a few timers and a few requisition tokens, you'll be fine.
push a bit more out. You'll be there. You'll be there. Faction talks. I have advice.
God, can we please not?
I will never forget Auto. I think it was Marto was going for his number 3, and I think you and him were on voice chat at one point, going through those final moments.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like a stock ticker reading off the scores of the people ahead of him, and I'm like, and spend Dill now, and Dill now. and he just barely made it up there. So.
Actually, we can talk about it with him next
Oh,
week.
Jesus, I mean, nice.
Yeah, I've literally just got over a cold as well. I think I had about 3 days like lying in bed. I mean, you probably heard me last night coughing my guts up as well. I think I've just about got over that.
Yeah.
We're the
That's fair.
anti-ASMR stream.
Yeah, no help for the 35 to 50 age group today.
No, you're not going to sleep.
Oh, we already had one. Who was it in chat?
Oh, it was Nobleman, wasn't it?
Nobleman say he listens to us so he can get a good night's sleep.
Yeah. Hey, we'll come on. Hey, that's a paid service. You want us to come on and talk every night? Definitely. I'll
That's true.
subscriber bonus. We will chat.
I mean, he can afford it. He just has to trade me some of his crew so I can get 12-hour voyage occasionally, and then I'll happily do it.
Nobleman was posting on our Discord. Join the Discord. I think it's like, these are the only crew I have left to retrieve, and it's not a long list.
No.
Yeah, I saw
Nobleman is a
someone
madman.
posted on the forums a couple months ago, and they were angry about something. But then they posted
No.
a roster, and they had literally every crew immortalized.
Yeah.
And and it was something, I don't know, they were bored or something. I'm like, well, dude, you have literally every crew in the game. There's like not a ton left to do at that point. So
Yeah, it's weird when you do literally everything there is to do in a game. It becomes less interesting.
I hope, Nobleman, that
Weird.
you don't run out of things to do, because I don't know.
I
Maybe
beat the
chase the
snake in Snake. Now what do I do? I'm bored.
It's the dog that caught his tail.
It's
Go
time-
for the 14-hour voyages,
Yeah. When you're really bored, it's now time to start a nightmare ult. That's what I say.
dude. Alts. I mean, I'm an altaholic, but they have helped a lot. If I start to feel like I'm bored or a crew aren't making a difference or whatever, start an alt and everything's fresh and it's like fun and there's no obligation to keep up with all the new stuff. So I like it.
You can look at your dailies and kind of go, no, I'm not going to do it today. Don't have to. It's nice. Just chilled out. Am I going to live in this crew? Don't have to. Nah. I'll let her lock him. Fuck him.
Nah.
Nah. Braxton, who needs it?
That's your main. What are you talking about?
So a lot of the games I played growing up, Diablo, World of Warcraft, Arena, Path of Exile, which is still going, they're kind of like based on seasons. So they'll like start a new ladder and people race to level up their character. And then interest sort of falls off after a few weeks or a month. And then you come back a few months later and start a new ladder. And I feel like that cycle really helps you, helps stave off the burnout. And you can play those games for years and years and years. So it's tough with a game like Timelines when it's something new every week, and you feel like if you miss it, you got to wait 18
Content
months.
train kites on chugging. And it's like, I almost feel like with Timelines, it's a case of if you are going to stop, you have to stop basically until the next portal update. Otherwise, there's going to be so many crew missing from your thing. You'll be like, oh, I've missed all these crews. Like, you might as well just wait until the next portal update, and then you can actually start pulling new crew that you missed. Unless all Frozen Beholds, which, you know, that's always gross.
It happens.
You wouldn't know anything about all Frozen Beholds, would you, Idle?
Not had too many of them.
No, they are starting to pop up a little more frequently for me now. I don't appreciate it.
It's
but
the all. It's not just the all immortalized. Yeah, it's the all frozen one that really. It's like, oh, these 3 trash crew that I froze ages ago are now appearing in this. Yeah, it's not a nice feeling. They just need to put a refresh button there. Just put it. I would pay 10 dilithium to refresh it. I would.
You wish they would still leave that little.
yeah.
I would pay 100,000 ISM for that. It's about the market cap, isn't it? Oh,
Talking to Plain Simple Garrick, I think he might pop in as
awesome.
well.
All
That's
right.
what he had for dinner.
He is elusive.
The power of dads combined, we'll have an old dead stream.
Mirasaru is a dupe in the update. Couldn't remember him being in the last update. Yeah, he was, I think. Yeah, the Mirasaru is now.
Yeah, I think I've seen him in a
Yeah.
Behold.
Just about.
Yep.
Yeah.
I actually got a star on him in the last Galaxy event.
I thought
from the
he's not as
community
good as I
portal.
thought he was going to be. I've not used him that much.
The anti-meta chance is what kills most of his chance to really be relevant on your roster. It's like, if you want him but better, you kind of just want to get someone like Soji Asha, really. But I like him. Still, nice art. Like Miracle. Guess what? How many more better Miracle cards are there? There are a
No, he's
lot.
pretty much the best. Aha. Oh ho.
Ah, it's a goose wielding a bat'leth.
I've only just realised that's your avatar. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Let me see if I
He
can
changes.
make this window a little bit more compatible. Aha.
How's it going, guys?
All right.
Yo.
What up?
Good to see you. How's
He
it going?
just beamed in. Get it?
You're right. I did get it.
Yeah, I would say fuck you guys and storm off, but I'm actually kind of enjoying being here, so I'm just gonna
Yeah,
browse.
this whole thing was your idea.
Yeah. You've already talked about how this is your substitute for socializing. So
That's true.
So here you go.
Yeah.
So, Garrett, what did you have for dinner tonight?
Not yet. It's still
Say
only
taco.
4 Eastern
Of
here.
course it is, yeah.
So,
Two tacos.
What is the dinner plan then?
salad of some kind.
Oh my god, what are you doing on
Yeah.
this stream?
Well, we've had a really bad post Thanksgiving, one right after the other, meal after meal after heavy
Oh,
meal.
okay.
So we're like, all right, gotta
Is
kind
this
of
gonna
cool it.
be? Is this gonna be like the salad and then like dressing? There it is.
This is your
Maybe,
come to Jesus
for-
meal, basically.
For me, yeah, no.
Dude, our friends brought salad for Thanksgiving. Well, what was it? Last week or the week before? And it was there was technically leafy greens there, but there were like big strips of like the salty ham and delicious croutons, and the dressing was the best. It was like this creamy balsamic. Oh, it was so good. It was like better than the freaking potatoes and gravy. It was so good.
Well, that's it's good that you didn't turn them away at the door like I would have. Like you brought a salad to Thanksgiving.
No, I mean they're Germans.
Such
you know?
disrespect.
You have to make allowances for the non.
I should also wasn't mentioning the fact that they brought an entire keg of beer with them. It's like, you kind of got to take a breath with the smooth here.
Yeah.
No, he's my drinking buddy, so he gets
See,
it.
see.
It always makes me laugh when you go to McDonald's and like when they first start saying we're doing salads and then you look at the calorie count for like the dressing and everything, like it's actually bigger than a Big Mac. It's like it's not quite.
Yeah. I always try to measure things against, if you get like a can of soda that has like 40 grams of sugar or whatever. If I look at like a delicious food that I know is bad for me, I'm like, well, at least it's better than a can of Coke, and then I just eat it anyways.
Or my go-to is how many bowls of pasta is that? And go from there.
Depends on the size of the bowl.
I don't know if you ever I don't know who knows about Dunkin' Donuts. It's like a big coffee and donut chain. They have those sugary sort of coffee drinks. One of them, like, that's 3 bowls of pasta. How could you justify that for a liquid? I don't get it.
And here's Big having like an entire bottle of whiskey, and he's like, no.
Deco.
It's slimming.
So they're actually bringing. I don't know whether this is a thing about Brexit now that all our laws are just lax. But I pass about 3 McDonald's on my way to work, so it's already hard work enough for me not to pull in and like just order breakfast every day I drive to work. But now they're actually they're developing this whole sort of industrial area on my way to work, and they're bringing a Wendy's, which I thought didn't exist outside the US. So I'm kind of half like, oh god, what are they doing? And also half, is Wendy's good? What's the
I've heard Wendy's is okay.
I would put Wendy's above your McDonald's and
Yeah, if McDonald's
Burger
is a
King.
tier 10 quality, then Wendy's is like a tier 9.
Let's tear the fast food. Let's do it.
All right, let's tier all foods.
man, I'm trying to think of it now. Would I
Outback
put-
Steakhouse is like tier 4, right?
Yeah, that seems fair.
Like it's not high end, but you can eat.
It's not as good as you would think it would be
Stars.
when you've had it the first time.
Go on, what tiers in Nando's?
Oh
Tier
god.
7?
That's being generous. No
bad
voyage,
food.
no base, no collections. It's like a voyage. It's like a tier 8.
It is daily use though, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's steamed chicken.
No.
Nando's is the
Yeah,
reason one of my friends went
if you're
vegetarian.
lucky.
It's one of the reasons one of my friends went vegetarian, because he was sort of like, we went to, I'm going to have a cheeky Nando's and all this. And when he went past the kitchen, as he walked past the kitchen, he watched them like steaming chicken, pulling them out of like this tray of just flesh out of like a steam bag. And he just went, I don't want this anymore.
Oh, yeah, that actually reminds me of a joke. I don't think this was the context, but it works anyway. It's just English chicken seasonings, and it's different bottles of water.
I think
Not wrong. That's about right.
I know. I kind of hate those, like, well, it's better than English food. You just drink, the reason you don't go abroad is because you bring it all home. And it's like, we eat good food. We do.
All right, so when I visited England, we basically went from inn to inn or pub to pub, and that's fine. I'm a big pub crawler, so the food isn't right. It's not super seasoned, but it's fine. It is what it is. But the one thing, sticky toffee pudding, man, you guys should export the shit out of that, because that's the best. That's maybe the best dessert I've ever had. And once we discovered it, we ordered it for every meal after that, because we're like, we have a limited number of. Do you guys ever count the number of meals you have left when you're leaving a place like for
Yeah.
vacation or something?
Yeah. Every time I go to Crete, there's this really nice pizza place that does like gyros and pizza, and they do some of the nicest pizza I've ever had. That's not Italian. And every time we go there, it's like, okay, we have 2 weeks. How many times can I justify going there? And I always manage to squeeze in one more than I think I can because I'm just that stoned.
So I went
Every time I go to Crete, look at this jet setter.
Yeah. It's like, jeez.
Slackened off the last 2 years. I can't
Yeah,
fathom
weird.
why.
when we,
So it's like my third trip to Ibiza this year.
yeah.
But
I would never.
yeah,
What, you
no,
clubbing, mate? Yeah, you're not out there, are you?
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, me with the glow rods and the. I don't even.
oh, that's what you call it, huh?
Oh, mate, I met this bird out there. Well, pucker. I went to me and
Dude,
my
I
wife's-
love you guys, but I would never be seen in public with the 5 of us. Like it would be a neon sign right
Yes.
there.
I went to Mallorca with my wife. It was like our second holiday we ever had together, and we didn't research it that well, and we didn't have a lot of money, and we kind of like went out there and went, oh shit, we've only got €100 to last us 2 weeks. So we were finding every one of the
Hey,
cheapest
that was
places.
stupid.
Yeah, we ended up sort of going in the overdraft, but like we went out to like these really cheap places, and we found this one place like that. This is a really cheap menu. Let's go here, and this will just do us this fuel. And I ordered a lasagna. Which should be, everyone knows, should be like nice layers of plaster and mince and like nice like sort of Ruby cheese sauce.
Plaster.
Sorry,
Pasta.
pasta.
You said
You said
plaster.
plaster. You 100% said plaster.
British cooking strikes again.
Material there.
Just pave it on, yeah. But
It's all right. It's just a bit of wall plug. It's fine.
Blaster spackle.
someone comes over with a stud detector. Goes,
The grout is really great this time of the year, so
All right, let the man finish his story now.
Yeah.
If you ask the rater over, he'll get it. He'll top you off with a caulking gun. It's fine.
Oh, do you know what? I would take sauce and a corking gun. That would be amazing. They came over with ketchup and a massive cork gun. I'm like, brilliant. Hyper.
No,
This is
well, I
fine
mean,
cuisine.
if you go to like a Chipotle or something like that, they serve like sour cream in one of those kind of
Amazing.
like caulk gun kind of setup things.
There's a restaurant called
Yes,
Fuddruckers. And
there is.
I've only been there once, but they have three giant pumps. One for mayonnaise, one for ketchup, and one for nacho
Mustard.
cheese.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
nacho cheese. So I just took my burger and did what any normal person would do and cover that fucker with nacho cheese.
And at first you're like, this is not mustard, and then you're like, oh, now I'm into this.
This is not mustard.
No, actually, Fuddruckers, most of them closed,
Yeah.
believe it or not, but
did they?
they've.
They
I can
nacho
believe
cheese was a loss leader for them.
Okay, no, the thing about Fuddruckers was, or at least last time I went there, was the burger sizes start at half a pound.
Yeah.
The smallest hamburger you can get is a half a pound, and it goes up from there. So if you want a 1 pound hamburger, go to Fuddruckers.
I do. I really do.
Yeah, you should, because it's amazing. Yeah.
That is the one thing I
Wait,
would say,
so-
and I think we were sort of alluding to this the other day when talking with Low Cost Monkeys. Like, man versus food has pretty much convinced me I need to go to the US and eat something there because everything looks so good.
But did you see by the end of that show that guy just started ballooning
He
up?
had-
And
he
his
had-
doctor said,
Yeah,
Dude, he had to quit after the 3rd season. His doctor's like, you are going to die of a heart attack and high cholesterol.
wasn't there like a sequel
he-
series where? Like,
Yeah, he
had to
started a
get-
new series where he watches other
Yeah.
people eat and like cheers them on. It's,
But then
it's
they
peak
started-
America.
Couldn't.
they started it over with a new guy, and he was already starting, like, with one hand tied behind his back. He wasn't a skinny guy. And, like, I mean, I'm not talking. I'm just saying, like, not good.
It's okay. This
Idle,
is a safe
tell
space.
me more about your builder's lasagna.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, yes,
That's
yes.
the whole point
Plaster
of
and
the story.
spackle lasagna.
Honestly, the climax is not as good as the joke now, but it wasn't very good.
Title of your sex tape.
That's
It was
That's what
mostly
you got.
Well,
it was cheese and a
it's
tiny
because
piece of
you-
mince.
It's because you got the builder's grade lasagna. You needed
That's
to go,
true.
for a.
I didn't get
Yeah.
trade. I didn't get my trade points.
Yeah.
My B&Q lasagna.
I can't imagine something more dire. Christ.
Yeah, so my wife and I married in the U.S., but and she was living here in Germany. So 3 weeks before the wedding, she came here to take a big trip with her friends. So they went all around the West to national parks and stuff. Pardon me. And they were blown away by the amount and quality of the food. Like they'd stop at some little restaurant out in the middle of nowhere where like the closest gas station is 400 miles away, and they'd pay like $7.50 for a meal, and these they'd have like a forklift bring out the plates to them, and they wrapped it up in like 8 Tupperwares, and they would eat off it for the rest of the week. So they, she took so many pictures and told so many stories. So they're not all great, but the one thing U.S. does do pretty well is food. So.
Yeah, and then you have your first Golden Corral experience, and then it just
Tier 10.
Golden Corral.
no.
what's
Well,
that?
okay, okay. It is
It's a
a
buffet where everyone sneezes on the buffets, basically.
It's a buffet that if you imagine your average American middle school cafeteria level cuisine, I would say that's about on par. No, well, see,
Tourist
the
trap
thing
kind of
was,
stuff.
it's like because it's like the old joke, it's like I got your dinner tonight, but there's 2 lots of news, one good and one bad. And okay, so what's the good news? What's the bad news? The only thing we got to eat is horse shit. Well, then what's the good news? There's plenty of it. That's Golden Corral.
Are you
But,
in marketing by any chance?
Well, I have a degree in journalism.
How many of you has COVID ruined buffets? Because I didn't love them before, but I would eat there. Now I'm like, I'm not going
I
within
love a
a
buffet.
10-mile
I
radius.
love Chinese buffets. I love just
Yes.
that kind of stuff. And there's a really good one because I went to university in Manchester, and there was a really great one up there. And they used to do like steam buns and like the proper steamers and everything like that. It was a great price. And now I'm just like, I don't want to touch things that everyone else has touched. Maybe I'll look and see what they've got. It's like, can we all have our own spoons for like serving up? Like, that'd be great.
You had to bring your own giant novelty spoon and just be like,
Yes, a giant ladle.
I have gone to one buffet since the COVID apocalypse, and it was a Chinese buffet. And I have lived to tell the tale, so
You're okay.
that's one data point in your statistical
You're just
analysis.
strengthening your immune system. You're doing God's work.
So
More
it's-
buffets.
Exactly.
So
we're
speaking of
healthier.
buffets, I have another story about this Mallorca holiday. Like the breakfast,
Okay.
the breakfast was a buffet breakfast. It wasn't a plasterer's breakfast. This was all this is organic food. This is real stuff.
okay.
But it was all like, it was all like fried breakfast, eggs. It was pretty decent. But the problem was, so you're on holiday. Like when you're on holiday and you don't have kids, you get up at pretty late hour. Somewhere between like 9, 10 o'clock, or probably later if you've been drinking. Like this was served between 7 and 9, and after 9 o'clock you weren't allowed in. Bearing in mind, we would wake up at 10 to 9 every morning and go, oh, this is the worst holiday ever. We would wake up 10 to 9 and go, shit, we need breakfast. And we would just have all the leavings. Like, Christ, I don't want to have to set an alarm on my holiday to get breakfast. This is terrible. Anyway.
Yeah, it was like that on,
I
on my
like to
last.
imagine that it's like 9:01 and then they just like grab a gigantic like castle style like a slab of wood, put it through the door, and it's like
Yeah. Backed onto a club as
No,
well,
it's
which
so
was
well.
worse.
They'll just pelt you with a handful of donuts as they're shutting the door. It's like, here, pleb. Breakfast is over.
Yeah, on this
Have an
last trip-
apple.
This last trip to Madeira, they closed at 10, which is like reasonable. People ought to be able to get down by 9:30, but we were so knackered by the end of the day. So we'd get down there at the last possible minute, eat breakfast, and then calculate the number of minutes we had to lay in bed before we could go like swim or hike or whatever. It was planned around stomach pains were a part of the equation as we planned our day. Dude, I tell you what though, I guess I didn't tell this story on. There's a restaurant there. We did the Crete pizza special basically. Once we found this place, we went there as often as we possibly could.
Hmm.
And there was, because it was in, I forget the name of the town already, Santa something. It was right on the eastern
Santa
edge.
Claus, yeah.
Yes, it's Santa Cruz.
Santa Tina Fey.
Close enough. And so there was one street in the whole town that had restaurants. They were all like crammed in there. So we were taking a cab back from the other side of the island, and we're like, we asked the guy, "Hey, do you know where there's a good restaurant there?" He said, "Well, I've never been there, but just go to the one that has the most
There you
people
go.
standing outside."
That's what the sour cream was in.
Dude, Garrick is such a dad. He's in the unfinished basement. He's got all the tools laying around. That's the life.
Let me
man.
give you the grand tour.
Oh, wow.
Sponsored by
Oh,
DeWalt.
look at that.
I thought Stars was Al Borland, but apparently it's in the Toolman Taylor.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so we go to the street and we pick the one with the longest line, which is not the one we were going to go to. And it was fantastic. There's this old guy that was as round as he was tall, and he waited on us. He had like 7 sons that all looked like clones. And so we ordered
Shows us what
something.
the TNG episode.
They had
Wayun pizza.
Whoa.
They had the menu in Portuguese and then in English, which was like a bad translation. So we ordered chopped meat, which is like the least delicious sounding is chopped meat. And it was beef tips in red wine and garlic sauce with fried polenta and hand-cut fries. And then they had this like garlic bread on the side. And oh my god. It was literally the best. I eat the polenta, eat the fries, eat the beef, and then you have the sauce, and you take this garlic bread and you soak up the sauce, and you take
Rub it
that bite.
directly on your face.
My cheeks on my
To chest aerate.
that one bite was literally the most flavorful bite of food I've ever had. And my wife has like she recorded video of me just going, just like
Oh, we
groaning.
need that video. We need that video.
Just Homer Simpsoning your way through the food.
Yeah. And so I think we went there like 4 times that last week, and it was so good. And I had the. What are you watching?
No, I'm logging into the game
hell
on my
is
phone because
that?
my
Oh,
iPad's
okay.
run out of battery.
No, you're just like watching a TNG episode.
Sorry.
But don't forget, Otto, best enjoyed with the sound on.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay.
We promise.
When on my honeymoon, we went to a little island called La Gomera, and it was sort of my dad bought us the honeymoon and said, right, next month's bed, you go to this place here, and there was a load of we stayed there, and there was a few building works on, and the owner of the place said, apologies for building works, it's all over now. As a thanks, we'll give you free barbecue on us, no expense spared. Like they literally had like 7 people around different grills serving loads of different. It was absolutely gorgeous. But the funniest part was, so you go around and you sort of have your meats and everything. You get your second orders, and they said, "All right, we're now doing the desserts." The desserts are kind of like all different types of like cakes and all sorts of things. So we went up there and sort of got in the queue, and then we went. I was like, "I'll have a bit of the cheesecake. I'll have a bit of the strawberry ganache and all this, you know." And walk past, and we're walking past. There was about 3 or 4 desserts on a plate, and people are looking at us going, "They've got more than one. You can do that." And so other people go, "I'm gonna get." It's literally the scene from The Hobbit. He's got a pint, you know. It's like people just go, "I'm gonna get 3 or 4." Like people just being polite and just going, "Oh, we'll just have the one, please." And like me and my wife are just like, "Nah, we're taking all. This is free. We're taking all we can."
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody was being civilized, and then you barbarians
Oh
showed
yeah,
up and just started taking everything that wasn't nailed down
too
and
right.
just ruined it for everybody. Yeah.
My
the
dad
more
paid
a
for it, I'm gonna
restaurant
do it.
costs, the more emboldened
Yes,
you
sir.
are to fill your
If
plate.
it doesn't say you can only take one.
There was no sign saying I couldn't. That's my view on life.
Have you U.S. guys ever heard of Texas de Brazil?
Yes.
Texas Brazil fusion. Basically, the gauchos come by with a giant
Yeah.
skewer with the meat
Oh,
of your
the
Brazilian
choice on it.
the big
Yeah,
the
yeah,
big long thing that they just
Yep.
carve off
Yeah,
of.
right. They'll carve it off for you.
This long, that wide.
Oh, is that called
Fogo de
It's
Chao
called
is my specific. Yeah, chiaroscuro.
Chiaroscuro,
Yeah.
yeah, I've got a card game called that, which is I've got a card game which is all about eating the most amount of meat you can. That's how I know about it.
And I always win.
Yeah.
No, it is my go-to for if I want to treat myself with food. That is the kind of I go to Fogo de Chao, but it's the same exact concept. Yeah, but that is the ultimate in food indulgence and eating until you are physically ill, because so you can't stop it. They just keep coming around with the skewers, and it's like, you want some more? Of course I want some more. No, I can't. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but yes, I want more. Because this one's
Texas
crusted in
motto,
Parmesan cheese now. So okay, I got to try that now. Good grief.
I see a Santa hat.
Hey.
Yeah.
Poop pee.
Is that the poopy? That's not the poopy.
Yes.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hello.
Oh, yeah. They've brought me Reese's trees.
Wow. What good kids.
See,
Yeah.
this is the entire reason you had kids.
They must
Really?
take after their mom.
I mean, it's at least 85% of the reason.
Was the
Goes
other
up to
15
88% on a good day.
I was going to say, was the other 15% enthusiasm, or do we not need to go there?
No, it's to leave me leftovers of their food so I can eat it
Oh,
at dinner
yeah,
time.
yeah.
We already went over that.
So what's next on the schedule for Food Lines Talks?
Dude, when we're all dead within the next like 3 years, they can trace it back to this video and
Speak for
show
yourself,
our
I'm going to live
widows
forever.
All right, Riker, calm the fuck
Hey,
down.
Thank you.
off your plaster lasagnas. It's very fortifying, you know.
Full of rich irons and calcium.
It appears that this lasagna can be used to build a wall in Age of Empires 2.
The
It's
thing is,
very
we-
strange.
We've got to have all had a
Well, you went
dinner,
to yeah.
yeah, that is more sort of like concrete than actual like food. That, you know, someone's grandmother has cooked them a meal. You're just like, I'm going to eat this out of politeness and nothing else.
So I'm going to Latvia to my wife's family in a couple weeks, and we're there for 3 weeks, I think. Every single meal is potatoes and meat and sauce and dill. And yeah, I'm a meat eater, but like last time I was there, I pulled my wife aside after like day 10. I'm like, I want a salad so bad right now. And they won't. The only thing green they serve are homemade pickles. It's like your only reprieve from the constant starch and meat influx. So,
Wow.
it's great, but it's a little rough after a while.
I'm just in Reese's mode over here, so I mean, you guys
No,
carry
it's
on.
fine. We're just watching you enjoy yourself.
yeah.
It's fine.
Big shared a photo in Discord right after Halloween of all the candy he stole from his children.
This is bad for you. I'm taking this away as an executive health
The
decision.
dad tax.
No,
Garrett,
this-
do you do
I mean,
the dad tax?
Yeah, the stuff they don't want. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
sure.
that it's not a tax. It's eminent domain. It's like I'm taking this for the state.
You'd
The
make a
state
great
being-
police officer.
Exerting your casus belli over the the titles of the sweets.
Yeah.
So,
How about that food, huh?
yeah. Should
You know what? I have a question, and it's dangerously close to being on topic. And I'm kind of curious to know what you guys might think on this.
What is on topic?
anything tonight.
What's the topic?
So there's like a pretty obvious discussion to be had about like the best Star Trek villains. You got like Khan, you got the Borg Queen, you got any number of like one-offs. What's the worst Star Trek villain? Like the one that you don't take seriously, or that you find the lamest, or that's the worst performance, or they just turned up and you were like, "Get off the screen."
Shinzon.
Arness.
Shinzon?
Shinzon. Sorry, Sky.
Michael
Push on.
Burnham.
No, okay. Let's think. Is Devanani Ral a villain?
No. He's
Nah,
a
he's
foil,
not.
but I wouldn't say he's a villain.
See, I would not like Ferengi, but the Ferengi are more comic relief than villains.
What about the pipe cleaner people in TOS?
What?
From Cat's Paw?
Yeah.
God, yeah, they're pretty terrible.
God.
Dude, he could have just said Cat's Paw, and the discussion would have been over at that point.
But let me think some more about this, because there's got to be some some real winners and stinkers that we haven't.
Carnass is one of them because I watched the Mark Jameson Too Short a Season, is it? Episode recently. And I even said in our Discord, I'm like, this Carnass guy is ripped straight from the original series. He's like over enunciating every word, and he's pointing at Picard every time he says a sentence.
He's still the same character he was in Trouble with Tribbles. I mean, that's just Michael Pataki being Michael Pataki.
Okay, didn't know that.
They didn't go. They didn't overdo it with the production values either. Let me tell you.
Yeah, just put him in a Hyatt conference room with the lights off, and it's like, well, there's your set.
It looks like he's wearing freaking Jean-Claude Van Damme's alternate Guile costume from Street
That's
Fighter the
true.
movie.
I'm going to come up with a
Although
controversial
I'd pay
opinion
real
here.
money if he could do the splits like Jean-Claude could.
I know who it is. I know who it is. It's Lutan, right?
Ooh.
No vaccine!
I'm
I'm
going to
not
go.
sure
no-
that
Yeah.
counts.
Oh, yes. No, yes, of course. There were no, yeah.
That's
From
really
Code of Honor.
strong.
I
Yeah.
don't know if he's
Yeah.
a villain.
Yeah.
It's just not just badly written.
Well, he's a villain
He's
of
a,
the
he's a
episode.
badly written villain.
He's meant to be the main antagonist of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the main antagonist is the writer.
Yeah.
They are
No, the
villain.
main antagonist was the director, the original director of the episode, that decided that, you know, even though it wasn't written in the script to be this way, let's have this entire planet be pseudo-Africans for reasons.
And they did the same thing in Stargate. Same
did,
director,
yeah.
same
The-
episode.
They were
Yeah.
Mongolians, but it was the same thing. Yeah.
Although I have to say, I did like the way they showcase Yar in like the first half of the episode. She's a badass. She does. If we ever get like martial arts Yar, where she's Aikido vanish and flipping around the holograms and stuff,
yeah.
that'd be cool. Or like
Okay.
Mok. Well, I guess you could say Mokbar Yar.
How about a controversial opinion? The villain that I think I don't really like and is just there to be a villain is Armus. I don't think he's malevolent, but I don't think there's no point to him other than he's just
Wait,
like,
wait.
we need to have someone that is just pure evil.
Along that same line, what about the Sheliak?
Yeah.
He's like He's like Armus if he was a
the
lawyer.
Sheliak were very kind of like sort of letter of the law. Yeah.
Dude, Garrick, you're funnier than the rest of us combined, but it only comes out in spurts like every few minutes, and so it's like pure condensed hilarity. I love you, dude.
Thanks. But yeah, it's like they even did like a Futurama episode kind of
Oh,
like
yeah, they did, didn't they?
where they're negotiating with brain balls, and it's just like ripped straight from that Ensigns of Command. Like, we cannot condone bouncing of the seventh variety per treaty. It's like,
Oh, no.
It's
I-
just-
I think even the writers knew they screwed up with Skin of Evil, because then they brought Yar back for yesterday's Enterprise, and the whole plot was like my death was completely senseless, and we need to rectify it. So
that would have been good point to write Yar back into the series. That would have been the point.
I'd have been okay with that.
Yeah.
Actually, I really liked her.
If
Other
they had
than
brought
the-
that particular version of Yar back, that would have been an interesting way of doing it, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like Pulaski too. It's like just at the point where she was starting to be integrated and interesting as a member of the cast. Jeez, yeah. Later, y'all.
Okay. I've
Yeah.
got a new
Well, the
solution.
problem was that she had progressed in character to the point where she could no longer be sexually assaulted like Crusher and Troy, so they had to leave.
Yeah.
Hold on, yeah. Before we go down that path, Genos redeemed a question in chat, and this is the most applicable stream for this question of all time. Please describe your philosophy on napping, and we'll go counterclockwise through all the dads first.
I don't know where we're oriented on the actual screen. I'm just watching through our recording stream. So who's first?
You're holding the talking ball, so you talk first.
Ah, crap. Well, my you say my philosophy on napping.
Philosophy on napping.
It's a lovely idea in theory. I just don't know how you actually put that into practice. I mean, I work, and when I come home, I have to be, you know, a fully active parent of 4 children. So their naps are theoretical nonsense to me, basically. No, the only time that I've been able to nap is when I've been so ill that I just have to be in bed already. Then,
Yep.
I'm going to sleep. But
I'm
Other than
on the
that, I
same
don't have-
page. It's just like you come home and it's just like I've got to do children and dinner things and everything. It's like there's no time. Even at the weekends, I'm like, it's 7:00. Where did the time go? It's no the evening. Like the naps are naps are a luxury for those that have the time.
I am a big fan of naps.
Yeah.
I am a convert of the El Marto school of naps. Can I do them? No, but do I want to? Yes. And honestly, whatever you have planned for next week with El Marto, put the nap thing on there.
Just nap on stream. Just like right,
Just-
2.5 hours. Let's go.
That man,
I'm sure we
Last
can talk
hour.
that in because the doc does a ton of daydreaming. Maybe he can talk about the doc having a not nap philosophy.
Yeah.
For me, I tend to nap only when I absolutely have to, and it's like a 50-50 on whether or not it's going to be pretty good, or I'm going to wake up and my mouth tastes like garbage, and I feel like I got anti-sleep somehow. Usually, the only improvement in my physical state will be, oh, my feet don't hurt. Wonderful.
Yeah.
The only sort of like way I can have a nap that actually like accomplishes its goal is I've gotten into the habit of having a nap right before I do my GMing for my tabletop stuff, and that is a very specific. Okay, I've got like 2-3 hours. I have to get up by this time, and then it's like I don't know if it's a case of my body sets a clock and is like this is an important thing you have to be awake for and rested for, and then it's like okay, fine, these naps will be fine, but if I try and nap any other time, it's not happening.
I think the problem is like I've got too much stuff to do. I look at my day and I'm like, right, I need to do this by this, and then I've got like things to show to do, and I've got things from work to do, and it's like I've got no time to nap. I can't. If I take a 2.5 hour nap, I'm freaking out because I've not done certain things that I should have done. Like,
Well,
Well, I mean, it's kind of an extension of, the being a parent, and then when you get to bed, you're like, okay, well, I should sleep now. But it's like this is the only time that I have that's just for me. So it's like, it takes an extra 20-30 minutes to go to bed just so you
I'm
can
not going to
do
waste
what
time
you
lying
actually.
down. Got shit to do.
those spreadsheets don't write themselves.
They really don't. Although I'm working on that.
Yeah, when they do, then they'll find
machine
out.
learning.
So I've got one final addition for the
I have
all-time awful Star
I
Trek
have one as well, I have
villains.
one as
Okay.
So my
Nero.
thoughts on napping are that I would like to, but I always wake up with a migraine, so I don't. All right, back to villains.
Yeah, and I'm waking up with I feel that actually migraines. Nero from Star Trek 09.
I quite liked him. I didn't mind that.
What is
Lou
his
Albano?
character?
What's
Yeah,
Eric Bana?
I know. Yeah.
Lou
the character-
Albano, same thing.
The character was kind of lost in translation a lot. There was a lot of backstory they just didn't bother to explain in the film, which was a shame.
Okay. So I've got a problem with this, okay? So this is the exact same problem I have with people who say that, like, the extended version of Batman vs. Superman is good or whatever. If you cannot make your 2-hour movie in such a way that I understand your villain and what's going on, then you have failed as a director. That's not a case of, oh, well, it's fine if you watch the 4-hour cut. Motherfucker. You bought my 2 hours. You don't get to go, I'll do it again better next time. Like, no, that's another 4-hour buy-in. Fuck you. Do it right the first time.
So in the movie, he has this like scimitar-esque super ship. But I go and read the backstory. They're like, he's a lowly freighter pilot from Romulus. I'm like, how is his freighter end up stronger than all the other ships? in Star Trek?
Modded out mining
Honestly, they had nothing better to do than stick Borg bits onto a
Yeah.
mining vessel. Yeah, sure.
Been cool. I don't know. I kind of find that a little bit cool. Okay.
Okay, well, since we're talking about
Snaps.
movie villains, all I want to say is I see your Nero, and I raise you Ruafo.
Nah, I've got time for Rafa. Rafa's so over the top. Just for the one scene where Dougherty is like, No. It's not like that. It's like, perhaps Captain Picard now, no, and then just like the spurting blood, and then like Picard has this look on his face, like, what the fuck was that?
I think by virtue of it being F. Murray Abraham, it's a minimum tier 6 character for me. But you're right.
Yeah.
The rest, the actual writing doesn't do very much for him.
Okay.
Well, he was decent in Scarface, so I'll give him a pass.
I will give you the ultimate of worst thought out villains in worst episodes of Star Trek, and we're going to talk about Janice Lester, who was just bad. She was just pissed off at Kirk. And then you had a trial.
have to talk
The whole
about
episode,
this?
the final episode of Star Trek, is just a really shit trial.
So
I feel like that's the most appropriate way it could have ended, honestly.
So when it comes to social issues, and we're not going to get into that whole thing here, but I think it's fair to say I'm far less sensitive to all that stuff than most people, at least in my circle. That being said, William Shatner strutting around with his hands on his hips, acting almost like a stereotypical gay man from the '60s. It was like, this is just. And you're going to end your series on this? Like, oh my
Well,
god.
to be fair, they got cancelled, so maybe not
Yeah,
entirely
but-
their fault, but...
Yeah, but it really doesn't take more than a few minutes to be like, let's just swap the viewing order here.
Yeah.
Let's
Dude,
put
it
Spock's
was
brain
awful.
here instead.
Extreme some rough spots, but it does have some good episodes too.
All right.
But
Evans
to
and
bury
Wales.
the lead like that.
Evans and Wales in chat says, should have done a follow-up with the species who created Armus, turning out like the indecisive Kirk when he gets split. They should have made ancient humanoid who we're all tapping away for. Just make them the creators of Armus, and like they used to be flawed like other humanoids, and then when they got rid of Armus, they became this enlightened species or something.
Well, I always, I don't know if it was a thing from the books or if it was just someone's headcanon, but someone suggested that they were the species that became the Metrons or the Organians. So, the ultra angelic, like non-corporeal beings, like that's what happens. You shed off your evil and you become like that.
Original series' greatest contribution to the Trek universe is they had so many one-off god species that you can attribute everything else in the show to.
It was the Metron. Yeah, anytime there's like, I remember season 2 of Discovery launched, and obviously you had the sort of the Red Angel coming out, and people were like, it's the Organians. No, it's the Metrons. No, it's the whatever the.
It's the Iconians. It's
The
like, what the fuck
Iconians,
is-
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
yeah.
It's like Sony Theory. It's like, no, it's just Burnham in a suit.
One of my Burnham, unbelievably powerful species that could never be destroyed. Like same thing.
There it is.
Whatever. 2. I'm up to 2 today. One of my favorite parts of Picard was that random pull from like a season 1 episode of Voyager where they had the
Sicarians,
teleporter.
yeah.
The Sicarian teleporter. Because they name drop Sicarians. I'm like, what? I went back and checked memory off. I'm like, that dude really? The guy with the bad accent they hit on Janeway? They're pulling that back in 2020?
It
got
the thing
his.
is- yeah, sorry, go.
I'm glad that he got his. That's all I'll say.
You are making things extremely unpleasurable for me. It was like a bad Ricardo Montalban almost,
Yeah.
Oh,
Eat nanoprobes.
Speaking of, if anyone's watched the new Hawkeye series, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but there is an actor there that plays Echo's father, and I looked at him, and he came on the screen. I went, if you want a new Khan on the screen, get that guy, because there's like, holy crap, that's like Ricardo Montalban replaced. He's not quite as hench, and there's not as much chest, but he's got the same kind of mannerisms. I thought that would be
He'll never be able to replace that.
more chest than man.
Broke the mold after that one.
Well, I gotta head out, guys. But it
No,
was nice talking.
yeah, thanks for coming.
Pleasure having you, man.
Yep.
Love
I'll
you,
see you
Garrett.
soon.
Cheers for the show.
Yep.
Well, there goes all
Dude,
our
I
comic
love
potential.
Garrett.
Yeah.
Lights
wish-
on out of the
For
universe.
these fucks.
I wish Garrett could be a regular on the show, but
Time zones, man. They're a bitch.
yeah.
As we know with our
Yeah.
Star Trek Adventures planning.
Well, I will say,
I know, that's been a
we
real
might-
fucking annoyance.
we might as well talk about it because this is what we had, briefly talked about when we came up with the idea to do this crazy thing today. Is that, U.S. people being on your show, yeah,
Time zones
okay.
and other things. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's I want to be on this show every episode that you have them. I mean, I would love to be on every Wednesday, but I can't because I work. I'm still at work when the show starts. I have to make special arrangements to be on here, which I'm happy to do. I love doing it.
By the way, if you guys don't know, Big makes the Jello that the bad ladies wrestle in, so that's his that's his job at work. Please continue.
He's classified as an essential worker. It's true.
Yeah. So never taken a day off. So
You're a public servant.
Now I'm just imagining Big coming to this giant set, and then that big navigator alien from Dune is like, the Jello must flow. It's like, hey man, if the space alien says the Jello must flow, the Jello must flow.
No, it's like I come in with an ambient temperature monitor. It's like, it's 81 degrees in here. This stuff is not gonna set. Ah! No.
Got one of those giant pools, like that episode with Ambassador Sarek, where they have the aliens come on, and Geordi and Wesley are working with this giant strobe lighting pool, and they have to get it just right. They're stirring this big pot.
But anyway, no. What we had talked about was some way that we all as a foursome, and maybe more people like Garrick, the U.S. crowd could be on a show on the weekends, so that we could do this kind of thing regularly. And we didn't obviously have a ton of great ideas on what we wanted to do right off the bat, but that. I mean, maybe that's a good thing to just bring up to anybody listening here. It's like, what would you want a show, a non-timelines specific show featuring us for Mucklucks to be about?
Yeah,
I mean,
thought about two things, because obviously the three, me, Stars and Auto, we're this started with us being sort of European based, so that was kind of where the times, and a lot of our viewers sort of lament that they can't join us live because of work and whatever, and it is a great pain point. But unless we stay up to 3 o'clock in the morning, there's not a lot we can do. But I've always opened the idea of because we can share things like the stream key with someone else wants to stream it if you have the technical know-how to say, I'm going to jump on for the American crowd and do the American timelines talks, with eagles and flags and whatever it is you do over there.
We're going to damage our brand.
From the last Timelines Awards show, I think.
Oh yes.
Actually, in a little over a week from now, Maverick from Top Gun will be back. So,
Mr. Worldwide, Pitbull himself, will be back.
so did you call me Pitbull or Pimple? Because both kind of apply in this case.
All right, Mr. Gorch.
It is a gorge. So.
Cranky said Booter wanted to come and talk about his event. And yes, I have spoken to Booter. We need to work out a time, but we're not. I think it's going to be sometime next year now, which is not that far away. So we'll definitely get a Booter on at some point. Maybe long
taking
after
a
his
nice
event.
long holiday break. So.
Yeah, we'll get there. It's hard scheduling around these things, and it's hard because obviously we want you in as much as we can, Big, because of your insightful knowledge into timelines that is not of any other's ability. But yeah, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
And seeing as I'm doing all the streaming and no one else is, it's kind of I'm on, you're on.
You know what? It's idle. That's the whole thing of everyone wants to be in a tabletop party, no one wants to GM.
Yeah. It's lucky we have 2 GMs, so that's kind of handy. But
yes, this is how you to swap off, and every time it happens, we're like, oh yeah, get to play!
Yeah, exactly. And it's but now we just can't get everyone to synchronize at the moment, so yeah, it'll happen, we'll get it done.
My fault, really, but
no,
we get something.
No, it's not that. We'll get it going. But we made some cool Klingons last night. Got some good Klingons.
Yes, so I should be watching that show probably tomorrow afternoon for my lunch. Should be good fun.
You guys are getting quite into it. It's quite good.
It's good fun. So it is 20 days until the day of,
Oh.
yeah. I'm pretty sure like Zephram Cochrane did the first warp flight. I'm pretty sure that's what it is in 20 days, right?
First contact day.
Yeah.
Is that really? Gosh.
Yeah.
Didn't know that happened at Christmas. Is that what happened after World War III? Like no one, because you never see them celebrating Christmas in Star Trek, do you? Apart from Generations.
A few times.
TOS.
There's like 5 or
yeah.
6 references in all
Okay.
of Trek, but yeah.
Remember, we looked this up.
Yeah, it was for a past show. We did like a Christmas show or
Oh,
something.
we did, didn't we? Oh, yes, I forgot about that. Okay,
Yeah.
scrap my entire conversation tree then.
Basically, Jesus was a cybernetic Borg drone sent down to assimilate Earth.
That makes so much
But
sense.
he was a baby and he couldn't reach the levers, so it didn't happen.
No, I'm just picturing like the nativity, but it's just one of those little Borg babies from like Best of Both Worlds or whatever.
No,
it
wait,
was.
it's the little interceptor class from Armada. It looks sort of
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
sort of
the
like
tiny little- yeah.
yeah, that was a Roddenberry thing. He didn't want too much religion on the show because he felt.
I
like-
mean, yeah, he'll say that, but then he'll be like, we consider one god plenty fine. So it's like, well, that's a bit of a double standard, ain't it, Gene?
yeah, but there's a lot of speeches, like Chakotay and Janeway have a conversation. I think Archer does at one point about. Oh, Picard does, and Who Watches the Watch. I'm not going to send them back to superstition, basically, with the idea of a god.
Yeah. No.
Let's not get too down the religion path. But
okay, let's tangent on this. How much do you think Roddenberry was involved in The Final Frontier and God being the main villain there, or was that Shatner?
Not at all.
Yeah, I was going
None
say.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Like
does
4, I
God
can
want?
see the involvement.
but
In fact, wait, hang on. When did Roddenberry die? It was like what,
91?
92?
Yeah, something
92?
like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Final Frontier was 88.
Like
Wait,
his
92?
fingerprints are all over Undiscovered Country. Like, but Final Frontier, no, that's a uniquely Shatner disaster.
if it was 92, then he should be resurrecting sometime next year. That's 3 decades from.
Is this the real QAnon, but it's actually Q? We're going to wait outside a train station for the revival of Gene Roddenberry.
John F. Roddenberry Jr.
I don't think God as like the villain of the piece was so odd because TOS was littered with omnipotent, like Apollo. He's like, I was there when
Yeah.
you were mere children on Earth. So
Yeah.
there's a whole bunch of super
the
beings that
entire-
claim to be from.
The entire show of Stargate is based around that entire premise that gods came to Earth, but the fact they were aliens all along. Like that is Apollo, but transponded.
I mean, if you want to think about it in philosophical terms, I want to say that the Star Trek future would be one of, maybe religion being much more of a personal thing, where you just do it for yourself, and it's just not part of public life, public.
Well, yeah, you kind of see
collective.
that a lot with the Bajorans to a degree, where like there's like a very public part of it, but then there's people like Kira who kind of hold their beliefs a lot more personally. And Worf also significantly has a very personal relationship with, like, the whole Klingon
He's very
spirituality.
spiritual, isn't he? He's
But
it
it almost never comes up because he always keeps it strictly to himself. He
Well, it
really
doesn't
talk
come
about
up
it
as
often.
much because he's among humans. They dial back religion for humans, but they allow it for other races. It's like when they get into the Klingon backstory, it's very much, it's like superstition bordering on religion almost. Because there is a
it's that
delineation there.
blurring
but
of
the thing they
myth
believe.
and religion. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's the myth. Because if you tear a lock of your hair off and forge it into steel in a pit of lava, like.
It's very Beowulf,
It is-
isn't it?
That doesn't seem metallurgically sound. Just
Hey, man, the lava does not respect a fool.
There was a very cool
Anyway.
scene in Babylon 5, because Babylon 5 kind of also did the same kind of thing where they didn't address religion, but they had one scene at the end, and I can't remember the context of it, but it was the Commander Sinclair showing sort of an alien dignitary, and he said, you're going to come and meet the best of humanity, and he just leads him down a long line of people and say, this is so-and-so of the Christian order, this is so-and-so of the Jewish order, this is X a person, he's a Muslim, and he kind of goes through all the different religions and different world leaders, and that was the kind of they're touching on, this is humanity's best interest, we're all equal here, we all have our own personal beliefs, and I quite like that.
Except for androids who are less equal than everyone
Yeah, well,
else.
fuck them. What have they done lately?
Blinky, blinky motherfuckers! How dare they?
You try and turn that turtle upside down on the side of the road. You see what happens.
All right, if we can be vulnerable for a second, because I don't think I've ever really chatted about this with my buddies before. What are there episodes that get you guys into tears every time? Because for me, it's the Offspring at the end when Halftel comes out and says Data's hands are moving so fast he couldn't keep up with that one. There's Inner Light where Picard's talking to his wife at the end and she's about to go. There's a Visitor with old Jake Sisko, and when Ben Sisko comes back and he says, "Son, you have to live your life." That makes me think about my dad. So, are there any episodes where, no matter how many times you see it, it's like you at least a tear or two?
Episodes.
My heart is
no.
cold, so.
Just me.
I'm
Okay,
pretty
good to
dead.
know. Thanks,
I'm very
guys.
dead
No,
inside,
well, you-
like,
Well, the thing is, you already picked all the ones that I would have picked, so it's like I don't have much to.
Well, you
to
don't
add
need
to
to
it. It's like
innovate on it, but
so here's the thing. Like, I'll
Yeah,
watch any kind of like tragic story and I'll not be moved, or any kind of like tragic sort of Star Trek show, or even like something that's supposed to be deeply emotional, and then I'll watch something like Wreck-It Ralph, and by the end I'll be like, like it'll just for some reason like a Pixar film will just hit me while I'm watching with my son. I'm like, why is this happening? Like,
Wreck-It Ralph.
so misunderstood.
For me, I can't think of many episodes that get me outright like teary. Movies, absolutely. Ralph Kahn absolutely gets me every single time with
So you
Spock's
said
death scene.
Ralph
At
of
all.
Khan. I'm like,
Wreck-It
is that a
Ralph of Khan.
crossover with a Wreck-It Ralph?
Just like Ralph with like his hand against the glass. Yeah, no, it's Spock's death scene gets me every time. Like, even though I've seen it like maybe 30 or 40 times, like those two just do it. It's just a perfect expression of grief and loss, and the feeling of watching your better half die is like, I can put myself in that situation and it hurts, and I don't cry over it anymore, but I definitely do feel the pain of it.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
And not so much like teary, but Latent Image always gets an emotional reaction out of me from Voyager. For those of you who don't recall it, because it's not I don't think people talk about it too often. It's an episode where the Doctor basically discovers that parts of his memory have been tampered with.
Oh, right.
Because he finds some like scarring on Harry Kim, and he's like, I don't remember doing this operation, but it's definitely me. I even know my technique. And it turns out that he had performed surgery on Harry and another ensign about like a year and a half ago. And he had to make the choice of which one do I have to let die. I can't do both surgery at the same time. One of them will die. I have to make the choice. And initially it's like, okay, fine, this is a triage situation. What's the conflict here? And then it cuts to this scene in the mess hall where he's talking with Neelix about synthetic antigens and all that kind of thing.
Well,
He's
hold on
just
now.
waiting and thinking about it.
Save the full recap for 3 days from now, because
Yeah. This is going to set the piece, but there's just an amazing scene there where Picardo is just acting in this way, and it's so fundamentally uncomfortable and raw. But I also just like, I feel that, like, I don't know how I would react in that situation. I can relate to it a little bit too much. And that always gets a very raw reaction out of me, especially how they end up resolving it at the end of the episode. It's like, okay, yeah, you have about that idea of growth. That gets me in a way. That very much gets me.
oh, before I chime in, does that say poop pee on there?
It actually doesn't. It does. It
Where's my money?
It says, I love you, Dad, for Dad by
Amazing.
my daughter. So that's
See, that gets me teary-eyed.
yeah.
My first thought is, what do you want?
No, okay. Having some time to think about it, I have a little bit more unconventional choice in this, and
Hit
it
me.
is actually because you can have tears for different reasons, and one that strikes me is Lessons, the Nella Darren episode.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good
The-
episode.
So the scene where they actually start playing together and Picard opens up on what his music means to him and why, and that moment where they actually connect and it starts to flower, and actually it does it musically too, and that's a moment. And then the part at the end where he's not sure whether or not Darren has lived or died at the end, and the pain that you see in
Yeah,
his
he's
face.
just standing in the transporter room.
Yeah.
One of
So
the
that-
strengths
that-
of one of the big, it's like the focal point of Picard almost is he always knows what to do. Like his strong, loving arms will carry you through whatever conundrum you have going on. And in that's like one of the, you can count probably on 3 fingers the number of times where Picard doesn't have faith in his own abilities to command, and it's where he thinks he might be compromised because he does love this woman and he loves what she's brought out in him. So
Yeah. It's actual vulnerability.
Yeah,
if I can go back
actual.
to latent image, one of the things that I actually like about that episode is the last scene, because I know Voyager doesn't get a ton of love, but for me, it's always felt like you can feel like the crew is a family, which you don't get that in TNG is great, but I don't see like Geordi and Deanna hanging out a lot. But at the end, when Doc is trying to work through his breakdown, and they say, we're staying with you in shifts, we don't want you to be alone, we want you to have someone to talk to and connect with, that makes it feel like, you know, they really are 70,000 light years away, and they're a family, and they're looking out for each other. So
Yeah, no, that really ties it all together. So this is a scene that I don't think of very often, but when I do, it always gets
are you
me
doing
choked up.
shuttles idle?
How did you know?
Better do.
Shuttle check.
So, Insurrection gets a ton of shit, rightfully so. But the scene, I think it's just after Picard has been talking to Anij, and he's just walking through the Baku town. He's basically, thinking about the conundrum appearing before him. And it's like, I think it's just about the sun is about to rise, and he goes up on the hill and he sees Geordi, and he hasn't got his visor, he hasn't got his visor on, he hasn't got the implants on. He's just got these really beautiful brown eyes, and he's just like, the optic nerve has begun to regenerate. And before he goes, he wants to see the sunrise because he's never seen them, at least not the way you do. And the way it's not, because the sunrise just like, it's normal. It's just like, like the orange blooming, and it's like, yeah, sunrise. But the way that LeVar Burton looks at it, I just feel just touched every single time. It's just like it that gets me. Like that feeling is like I connect with that.
Dude, and it reminds you of every good Geordi scene that you can think of throughout Trek. That's him doing it with this fucking hairband over his
Yeah.
eyes. Like, imagine if he could just be LeVar Burton this whole time.
Yeah.
Was there a reason they dropped
I
the
think-
visor in First Contact? Did he just suddenly went, enough?
LeVar Burton was literally like, please just let me fucking take the thing off. It's been 7 years. I also think there were problems with it. Like on TV, obviously it's a little bit less obvious, but when you have a wider aspect ratio and you start filming in widescreen, it becomes a lot more obvious. You can see through the slats of the visor, and he's, they're not going to make him wear the blind contacts while he's got the visor on, because that's too far. That's just too much. So I think he was like, don't worry about it. And I think the internal justification is they were like, look, your visor has fucked us over multiple times in the past for security reasons. Either you get rid of it and get cybernetic implants, or you never get to work on a starship again. And
Literally multiple times.
Early
I
on
can think of
in
at least 3 off the top of my head.
early on, I think it's like, and sorry, I'm doing shuttles while I say this. I think it's
Here we go.
well, it would have been season 2 because it's an episode with Pulaski, and she's talking him through getting a replacement, and she says it's like 95% safe. That you could have real vision. but he sort of equivocates over that 5%, and he's like, I'm not sure. So it is realistic that throughout the course of a show that spans into movies, that there can be technological advancements that make that 100% safe. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Well, plus it wasn't a thing where they just were able to give him normal vision. That's still an enhanced vision. So I mean, it's clear that that's some kind of technological thing. So I mean, it might be that he didn't want to give up the the extraness of his visor and the things that provides. Well, and plus, I mean, he would basically be having to learn how to see again in some fashion, because he had been used to the visor type of vision his entire life. So I mean, that would be another.
Yeah, because as I recall, you do get to see what he sees in that season 1 episode, with all the bright flashes of color, and then you get to see what it looks like through the cybernetic implants.
Stunt doubles.
Yeah. And in First Contact, you get to see for a very brief moment what he sees, because he does the zoom in to see Cochrane drinking in the long distance. And it is distinctly different. It is like, that's a very different kind of vision. I can imagine that would have fucked with him for a good little while.
all right, if I can bring this back to tragically sad territory, Evans of Wales says, Doctor's family with his daughter dying. Yes, she whacks her head, and Doc, with all his medical capability, can't save her. And that's a big tearjerker.
Yeah, that's a rough one for me.
I feel like people don't use the adjective Volky enough. You remember when his son hangs around with the Klingons, and that's like a slur for them. That's such a Volky idea because it's short for Vulcan, which they don't like.
Hanging out with Klingons, because of course he is.
Such a Volky idea.
Such a rebel.
I have to wonder. Like, I always thought, like, oh yeah, that must be like the extrapolation of this program. But then I remembered, oh wait, Torres programmed those additions. Does that mean that when she was a kid hanging out with like other Klingon kids, is that what they talked like? Such a Volky idea. It's like, that's weird.
I think it's her payback, because she never liked her Klingon side, did she? So this is just like, I'm going to make these guys the douchiest fucks ever.
Yeah. Not wrong.
And then there was the scene where, Archer had to apologize for his dog peeing on the planet. That's just
with a fucking chainsaw.
Yeah.
Dude, he was the biggest dick of all time in that episode. If you watch the Humbled Archer episode, he refuses to make like the most token apology in order to save relations between their people. Like they could set up trade routes.
Dying that makes it happen.
Technology, but he won't apologize for his dog whizzing on their tree. So then finally at the end he does, and
yeah. That being said, Enterprise does have one moment that really does tug on my heartstrings. And it's the actual finale of the show. The Terra Prime 2-parter, where they find out that Trip and T'Pol's engineered child is not actually viable for like actual life. Like, it's just she's going to die within the next day or so, because it's just a clone baby designed to show off why this kind of thing can't happen, why the races should not mix. And there's this really tender moment between Trip and T'Pol where it kind of has like all those hallmarks of the best, Tuvok connecting with someone or Spock connecting with someone, where it's like, yes, you can tell that she is repressing the emotions, but she's still feeling them just as strongly as Trip is doing. And even the smallest of gestures means a lot coming from someone in that emotional headspace. Like that's a really good moment in my mind.
All right.
Yeah, Trip does have a good few emotional episodes. The one where he has to write the letter about the engineer who died, and he has to write it to their family, explaining, what he thought of her. And he's like, I can't think of anything to say. Like, that's a really rough one.
Can I just interrupt very, very quickly? You probably can't see it, but look, Lieutenant J.G. Palmer is making my shuttles. This is shuttle number 23, so she was at least making...
Fuck's sake.
Sorry,
what about her dupe? Don't you have two of her?
I do, actually. Yeah, that's not her.
The Cogenitor episode, that's another one where...
Yeah, so that's
a rough one.
Isn't Sim a good one for that? Because that's quite tragic. He has to kind of deal with... I haven't watched it for years, but he sort of deal with actually having to sacrifice himself to save the real Tucker.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, it's rough for him.
Well, hold on. Let me backtrack here, because this Cogenitor episode, I kind of didn't like it. And maybe that's hypocritical of me, because I liked early Archer. I like how he was portrayed, almost bumbling kind of. He was not a captain.
Yes, definitely bumbling.
And in fact, with the A.G. Robinson flashback episode, that kind of points out he was not fit to be captain back then. He did things by the book. He didn't have the maverick quality that you need to be captain. So he got captain because his dad built the engine. So I like that he was flawed in a lot of ways, and he wasn't great, and sometimes he flew off the handle. That being said, in the Skagenitor episode...
Oh, yeah. I know exactly what you're going to say.
It was so on the nose. You have to... Trip was way out of line. Like, you have to let other cultures, other races do their thing. You just met them, and you're going to destroy relations because you don't like the way they do things. I can understand that, but... Dude, I was really... Because at the end of that, Archer calls a Trip into his ready room, and he chooses him out. He chooses ass. And I'm like, please demote this guy. Please demote this guy. Like, you just destroyed relations between this technologically advanced race that was going to share what they know with you. Great relations. They were very friendly people with Commander Tomalak in the lead, by the way, as the leader of the ship. And, like, you threw that all away because you wanted to teach teach a cogender read. It's like, I understand the misgivings, but, dude, you can't. That is so Bush League and unprofessional. Like, this is not your culture. If it was happening on Earth in your own culture and you want to be an activist, that's fine. But this is, like, way different, in my opinion.
Now, you are absolutely correct. In the context of that episode, Trip is indeed wrong. That being said, you can't do that episode in Enterprise with Archer because he specifically says, would I have done the same thing? And it's like, the answer is yes, Archer. Not only would you have done the same thing, I have seen you do the same thing. So you don't get to have the same moral high ground as literally any other captain on this matter. So yes, what you're saying is correct, but the instant you said, I wouldn't have done this, I'm like...
Okay, but hypocritical, though, is also part of his character because he's not the prototypical... Well, I guess he's the prototypical captain because he's the first one, but he's not like the quintessential captain.
If
so
only we had some kind of law to determine how we interact with these primitive species.
See, that gets an emotional reaction out of me. It's revulsion, but it's an emotional reaction.
That means we're going to encounter the Borg in 229 years, 347 days, and 12 seconds. That's unbelievable, T'Pol.
Enterprise D? They make them in Galaxy class now?
It's a big boy. Trying to think of like other big emotional. I'm sure there must be some 7 episodes that do it. 7 has really
the
good
one where the Doctor
episodes.
he's madly in love with 7, isn't he? And that kind of
you're
over me.
Yeah, that's yeah.
That's quite tragic for him. I wouldn't say a tearjerker, but
I mean, Data's sacrifice in Nemesis is just an ape of Spock's, but it's still
it's okay, but it's very hollow. It isn't earned. You don't feel
the most emotional part of it isn't takes place actually before the sacrifice, and it's that moment when Geordi and Data go down below decks and they find the exact right place for him to launch. And he turns back to Geordi, and you can tell Geordi already knows. Geordi already knows that Data is dead, and he has like this resigned look on his face, but he knows he can't stop Data, and he just kind of goes,
"Well, okay." But then the other thing is the toast at the end, the absent friend from the TNG cast. I mean and I will say it's like because I saw Nemesis in the theater, and that it's like I had a whiteboard. It was when I like my first or second semester in college, and it's like I wrote to absent friends on my whiteboard after I saw the movie because that absolutely devastated me at that time. I think maybe there's kind of a latent nostalgic bit of that still.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. And I also think that Frakes does a really good job of selling the toast there, where he talks about meeting Data.
Oh yeah,
and him singing.
Yeah.
Pop Goes the Weasel.
So there's also which is kind of the best acting Marina Sirtis has done, and it's a shame it came so late, but her explaining Thaddeus' death in Nepenthe, that's actually quite...
that was really rough.
Sort of her sort of reserved judgment towards Soji and like kind of explaining that whole thing was actually really well done. That's why Nepenthe is like one of my favourite episodes in kind of all of Trek, even though Picard season 1 was a bit of a flat egg. That is such a good one because that's actually giving Marina Sirtis something good to do for once.
Nepenthe has such ridiculously strong emotional depth.
So
like, it really does feel like it makes you look back at TNG and be like, this is what those characters were really kind of... That's the depth and complexity of what they were actually feeling.
It's like getting... the whole episode is like getting a big hug from someone you haven't seen in about 20 years. It literally is.
Yeah.
It's the only good thing that we get out of the entire Picard series is that Nepenthe exists as an episode. It will have been worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually fair.
If you guys saw the... Because I think we even talked about it on a Timelines Talks in the past. Probably would have been last year's Star Trek Day thing, where they do all the panels and they get together. And every time you see them together, you're like, damn, they're old. And then you go, damn, I'm old. But whenever you always want the get together, but I don't know, it's like if Frasier or Cheers or some other shows where you're like, all right, that was the right ending. We don't need to go back to, like, it's fine if they ended on that. But part of you always want that one more. But there's a risk they mess it up. So you're right, Big. They did it. They gave us the one more, and they did it, and they didn't mess it up. And that's very rare in television. So.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with that. I'm also trying to think if there are any in Discovery that I really connected with. I've talked about like how much I really enjoy Adira Tal's like big the symbiont episode. I really enjoyed that.
They haven't really done the big emotional payoff for the audience yet. They have done the characters, but they haven't for... There's nothing... They haven't done a tragedy, really, yet.
Okay, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that, because there's the moment with Pike when he picks up the time crystal. Like, if we want to talk about visceral emotional reactions... That one, I was like, I kind of can't believe I'm lucky enough to watch this, because, like... because it's like, as a Trek fan, it's always been like, Christopher Pike, the first captain of the Enterprise, the original, that's the actual prototypical, from
technically.
All right, so hold on, give us a quick, and I say quick, sum up of that for people who don't recall that.
Okay, so I believe it's the episode's called Through the Valley of Shadows, and the setup is that they need a time crystal so that they can power the Red Angel suit, and the only place you can get them is the monastery on Boris, the Klingon monastery, and they find Tanavik the Timekeeper, who you may know as a Timelines card. He's running shuttles for me right now. And the essential idea is that they protect the time crystals and basically make sure that they can't be abused for time travel, because they have a more enlightened, more spiritual understanding of time. And that's sort of like underpinned by the fact that, we saw Tanavik like 4 episodes ago and he was a baby. Now he's a fully grown man, and he's very clearly learned quite a bit in that space of time. And he brings Pike into the chamber with all the time crystals, and he's like, you can take one, but you have to face what is in that time crystal. And if you touch it and you take it and you decide that you will pay the cost, that is your future.
It was basically like me opening Fence and Picard packs last.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So he reaches down, he looks around, he's like, okay, which is the one that I need to take? And then he reaches out, touches it, and then he immediately gets thrown into, I believe it's like nearly 10 years later, when he's a fleet admiral aboard that training vessel, and the accident happens. And the instant he gets thrown into it, you're like, oh, this is what that looked like. And it's really rough. Like, it's like, you watch that, and it's like, that's that moment where you think of Carl Urban McCoy talking about the dangers of space and about how easy it is to die. And you're like, that doesn't happen in Star Trek. Sometimes it does. And it's really fucking rough when it happens.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to them expanding that in Stranger Worlds, because they said that, he's going to be haunted by that a bit.
Well, in this, the shorter TLDR is, if he takes his time crystal to save the universe, the fear that he has to face is that he will be crippled in the future. And so he makes the conscious decision, I will make the sacrifice in order to help others.
That's too long for flavor text, mate. That won't fit on the page.
Does Boris Pike even have like flavor text?
Time crystal evoke feelings.
God damn it. But yeah, it's because it's that moment where, like, you know, he touches his face because he's got the radiation, and then in the background you hear that iron lung noise, and you see the TOS wheelchair, and it's like, I remember watching that, and I knew exactly what was going to happen, but I still had that moment of dread, like you're watching it, like when you're in a nightmare. I was like, this is really visceral. It really puts you in Pike's mind space, and it's like. And then his reaction to that and what he calls upon for strength just is really inspiring. So
okay, but aside
that,
from that, Discovery hasn't really had any emotional moments.
Yeah, apart from that shit.
From
Who cares about that?
You joke, but it's true. There's like that, and maybe one other point, and the rest of it hasn't grabbed me personally.
No,
so.
no, I will agree that there's no been sort of major pull tragedy. Where they're going to kind of save that for a lot of character build up and do something close to the end of maybe the whole series would probably be where I'd expect that, as opposed to sort of individual story kind of things.
I could probably pull through another one. I think another good few moments of like Discovery where I'm like, I really, really enjoyed this for that reason. But yeah, Ariam's death is pretty rough. That one's pretty rough.
Rushed. I think they needed to.
It was very much signposted, but I still think it's effective.
Yeah, it's pretty
well,
good.
that's my. And now I'm stopping in the middle of requisition shuttle, so you know I'm serious about this.
Yeah.
That's my whole thing with Discovery is they go from. Like, there's no payoff to anything, and it's sort of the way I've described it is the whole series almost feels like the last 15 minutes of a movie, where they keep giving you payoff, they keep giving you the big swell of music, but I'm not really attached to anything that's happening before.
It's more like a contemporary kind of, it Lost kind of started that kind of thing with the whole mystery box, and they realised that daytime television didn't have to be these one things. They could keep people strung along to keep them watching, and it's kind of a more evocative of a sort of like modern TV storytelling devices. And some TV shows do it well, others don't do it as well, and sort of, you know, it just does depend on the context, and I can just understand how that doesn't resonate with some people, and I do agree to certain parts. There's not enough for some of the episodes. There's not, payoff isn't earned. Like, you need to have something. You can't just say this person died, but it's so tragic, and you kind of go, well, yeah, but why?
It's not like other series didn't do it either. TOS did it every single week. Like, you always knew who was going to die in the episode, and were you meant to feel anything, or like if their goal was only to showcase how strong the bad guy is, that's fine. But if you actually wanted anyone to feel anything watching your show, like,
also,
they never even approached
that. Shouldn't feel deep wells of emotion for Larry Marvick.
I mean, to be fair, he did love Miranda Jones like no other man has loved a woman before. So.
Really.
Well, yeah. How many times can they kill Krillin and they still expect us to care?
Keep Krillin. I mean, I could keep on going with Discovery moments, but I think we'll put a pipe in that.
So, time travel back 42 minutes or so, when Big brought up the idea of doing non-timeline stuff in the future. One of the things, and that would be more of a seasonal thing, is talking about the shows, upcoming shows, Discovery, Prodigy, Strange New Worlds. There's going to be a lot of content there. And then another idea is that you brought up in the past, Idle, is this sort of history of Trek thing, which would be a more top-down look that would cover all sorts of things and maybe a little more detached than us crying over Admiral Halftel.
Yeah, I've kind of written up, and Stars, you've seen a bit of it, sort of like I wanted to look into kind of the hypothetical what started the sort of not that there is a real divergence, but the diversion between like real life and like where the Trek sort of universe sort of went off. Because obviously 1996 wasn't overrun with eugenics war soldiers. There has to be sort of like a divergent timeline. Sort of I went through of like going.
I mean, it wasn't in Voyager either, so
yeah, exactly. So there has to be a little accommodation. So I've sort of started writing up something on that I would really, when I get time, really like to sort of sit down with you guys and sort of talk through and yeah. See where I can go with that. That's something we'll do. But I'd absolutely love to do like a kind of a spoiler cast where, say, when Discovery season 4's over and we can go back and go, right, let's talk about this series, and we could do episode by episode. But I know, Stars, you haven't started watching it yet, and I know the other guys.
No, I'm kind of waiting for a good chunk of it to be ready before I start watching.
Definitely could do it by Lower Deck season 2. I could talk about that for days. Just how good.
I don't have a big enough helmet for that.
Red alarm. Have you watched it yet, Stars?
No, I haven't. Brody hasn't been in the mood.
Damn
That's
it.
the problem.
Just watch it. Just do the typical other half thing and watch it and then go.
If I watched it without him, I'm not doing that. I'm not risking my balls. Sorry. Like the instant they described, who was it they described? So they described, I think it was Boimler described the character as like Jim Cook with Trip Tucker sprinkles. There was like Brody's buy-in was immense. He was just like, okay, I'm there. So it's like if I watch it without him, he's gonna be majorly annoyed.
I just want to talk to you about the other Lower Deckers episode. I really do. Like it's a really good one. It's definitely up your alleyway.
Okay.
Prodigy as well. I watched the only 5 episodes of Prodigy so far as well, and surprisingly, bearing in mind it's a kids show, I'm quite impressed. They don't hold back on like the mature theme or the whole any of the techno babble either. Like they set up quite well as a Star Trek episode, and it's great to listen to Kate Mulgrew again.
Yeah.
Like
she's an incredible voice talent.
Yeah. There's definite nods there. It's great. Yeah, Prodigy's kind of great. I was sat down and watched it with my son, and I was just like, I'm going to kind of watch this without you, and then watch it later again, so I can watch it twice. I'm quite happy with this. Definitely evokes sort of Clone Wars feelings when that first started. Like
me and Brody are currently working on that. So
yeah, if you like the Clone Wars, you'll like Prodigy. Like it's.
So talk to me, guys, about how you watch series, because there are some that work better when you binge them, because you'll be like, oh, that callback to 4 episodes ago was only 2 hours on my watch, and so I would have remembered that. But then there are others that are like, back in the day I would watch 24, and my dad and brother liked it too, so we would watch it 1 week at a time, call each other during commercial breaks, that sort of thing. So some series really work one way, some work the other way.
Dark Ages.
How do you guys watch your shows, and which ones do you feel specifically work one way or the other?
Well, I'll say that with these Marvel series that have come along, I've managed to keep up with them and watch them as they are released. And I definitely think a show like, say, WandaVision, or to a lesser degree, like maybe Loki, they really work where you watch it when it comes out, and then you kind of just ruminate on it and mull it over for that week, and then you come to the next one. For the Trek series, especially the newer Trek series, I think they work better as a binge, because it keeps it more self-contained, because the pace seems to move so quickly that I think having all that information fresh in your mind makes it more advantageous in my mind.
Actually, I kind of like Lower Decks the opposite way for that reason. It's very frenetic, and if you get 2 or 3 episodes in, you're like, all right, guys, slow down. You're kind of giving me a headache. Like, I appreciate all the in-jokes and stuff, but it's like it's too much. There's explosions every 3 seconds, and people are yelling, and it's like, all right, I'm getting old. Hold on. Let me catch my breath.
And I think Lower Decks specifically, that goes the other way. I'm talking more about the live-action Trek, new Trek, add up to this point. Because, Lower Decks, and Lower Decks is really not meant to be, yes, I guess it's serialized because the characters do have their overarching plots and stuff, but that's really, every episode seems pretty self-contained to me.
Yeah, you can pick up any Lower Decks and just go straight in. Like, there's no barrier for entry there, really.
Yeah. So, that one I would say, just because the Family Guyification factor of it, where it's just you do. It's like you almost need a cigarette, and I don't smoke.
Yeah, go on.
There you go.
No, I think because I'm a consummate reader of the internet, so like I've done it several times where I've just been clicking idly when I've had a bit slow moment of working. Oh shit, I haven't watched this episode yet. I can't read that thread, so I have to kind of watch everything as soon as it comes out because I need to read about it, what other people are saying, and then come disappointed and disagree with everyone about what they're saying. I thought that was Genos walking in your room, Big, just then. It's Genos messaging in the chat saying, "Can I come in and say hi?" And then just. But yeah, I have to. I have to watch everything as it comes out because otherwise I'm just going to get spoiled.
Let's call it a stream, gentlemen. We had a good time tonight. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, that's great.
You can't give us the hook. You can't give us the hook if you tried. We'll just keep vamping.
Here he comes.
Hey.
Hey.
What's up,
There
guys?
he is.
Welcome in.
What's up, you handsome fellows? All four of you.
You fellow kids.
Oh, us.
Yes, all four of you.
Ah.
You all look beautiful
What do
today.
you want?
What am I on? I took a 2.5 hour nap. So that was fantastic. Oh my god. It's a Funko.
It's the dude
Love
Funko.
it. It's the dude.
Jeff Bridges himself. That's just like your opinion, man. In terms of opinions, so on binging, I tend to just like I'm kind of over having to watch series as they come out. Like I did that with Discovery Season 2, and to a degree I enjoyed it because I got to speculate and I got to be like, ooh, what could this thing from the next time trailer mean? And I was like, that was enjoyable to a degree. But then I experienced the absolute polar opposite when I decided to watch The Mandalorian. So I watched Mandalorian about, I think, like a year or and a half after it came out. Like season 1 and 2 were both out. The whole stuff with Gina Carano had already come out by that point.
Oh shit, that's not.
Well, no, this is why it was good because that meant I could look at her character and I was like, I don't have to get attached to you because I know what your actor's done. And it meant I just got to watch all the episodes as often as I wanted to watch it. I didn't have to wait. I didn't have to feel like speculating. And to a degree, it's like that was like the absolute polar opposite of, oh, I wonder what happens. I was like, I like the fact that I know which, like, I like knowing. Because if I had watched it as it came out and seen in each individual episode, and then that whole thing would have dropped, I would have been like, that's a shame. As it was, I'm like, I don't have to care. I have all the context.
Did you hear the recent thing about that whole? Because they're supposed to do like a Rangers and the New Republic show, which she was supposed to be one of the stars for, and someone else. And they recently came out and went, "Oh yeah, we weren't planning that, and we really weren't far on in that at all." I'm like, yeah, whatever. You're trying to detach yourself so much from being associated as much as you can, aren't you? Because she's a nubble.
Having friends to discuss a show with makes the week at a time thing that much more enjoyable.
Yeah, it really does depend on your friend group and what everyone's into, to a degree.
Yeah, I'll just go and post screenshots of like, look at this Star Trek ship. Look at that. I need more ship porn. Give me all those 32nd century ships, like, please.
I suppose to a degree, maybe that's also why I'm way more into binging it, because that's partly how Brody watches it, and we watch pretty much everything together. So, like, I instantly get to talk with him while it's going on, after the episode has gone on, and then before we watch the next one, I can have a conversation with him. So, to a degree, I have those conversations immediately with him, rather than waiting to have it over a water cooler or over a beer or whatever. So,
unfortunately,
that's probably part of the reason.
I don't have many people I can talk to about Star Trek, unfortunately, in my real life, apart from you guys.
Maybe this is going to be our water cooler. I don't know.
There you go.
Not about it.
I should get some water. I'm kind of thirsty. I just had to put a bunch of stuff in the attic. Which sucks.
I'm glad you
Yeah, right? Should I go get a Golden Eyes?
A what?
Oh, that's a.
Yeah,
I don't know
I'm
what
totally
it is,
getting
but
one.
go ahead.
Please be told.
It's still early for you, so knock yourself out.
Yeah.
He said, should I get a Golden Eyes? And I was like, what, like the N64 game? Like what?
Goldfinger.
I am invincible!
Anyone got the N64? Come on, let's go.
All right.
If we could get on, I'd be down for that.
There's a game for the N64 called like Army Men or something.
I think, yeah, it's not on the movie, right?
I forget what it's called. Anyway, most of the time you're flying a different kind of helicopter or airplane, and you can like pick up pick up the army guys and power ups and stuff. And all I remember is I play the crap out of it with my buddy after school. And I don't think I'll probably never be able to find a working copy of it again. But that was one of the N6, that one and Kirby as N64 games.
Neither
of my
copies of all the games that you might require, sir.
I can't fathom how you come across those.
Yeah.
Oh,
reminded
eBay.
me.
Of course, I mean eBay. That's
You
right.
reminded me to check GOG.com for Armada. Is still
Armada's
not
is still
ready.
not out yet.
Oh my god.
No. We nearly finished the campaign now. We're getting there. I think we've got a few more missions.
Yeah.
you gotta blow up more of your own ships, dude.
I'm working on it.
Yeah. We're
Big,
trying.
the
God knows we're
the
trying.
triples are multiplying big.
Yeah, these suckers are born pregnant.
They're in the machinery, all right.
Wait a second.
Yeah,
Soon it's gonna be Captain Tribble.
yeah, my baby.
Those are adorable children.
All right, boys.
Thank
Before I swing around to more Corona talk, what is new in your neck of the woods?
Well, speaking of the offspring, my daughter
Great
spent
band.
her first
Really
night
good
in a
band.
toddler bed last night.
I thought you were talking about the Next Generation episode. We're all on
Right.
different wavelengths now.
Oh yeah. My human offspring. Yeah, she spent the first night in toddler bed last night, and she didn't try to leave the room or run around and climb on things, and she just stayed in bed and slept. So that's a win.
The first time I put my eldest in a bed, first time out of the bars and everything, like he didn't roll or anything, but we put him in there and he's fine. I went to bed, like great, go to bed. And then like 10 minutes later, I just hear this crying. I go up there and he's in the middle of this room, looking really confused about why he's out of bed. He's just lying on the floor, just going, "What's going on? I'm free." It's like, just go back to bed, mate. Go on, off you go.
Awesome.
You're still muted, Big. Oh, I know.
He knows. He knows.
He's giving commands.
Just blink 3 times if you're in distress.
He's mouthing, "Help me."
Only got like 7 business days left of work this year, so I'm happy about that. Last 2 weeks of the year, I'm off.
Nice.
Unfortunately, the last week of the off, my daughter's also, her daycare is closed, so that means I'm basically not off.
Yes, yeah, you're.
You become kindergarten cop. It's fine.
Yeah. Put the cookie down! No!
Nada tuma.
You ever see that Vin Diesel version of that was just called the Pacifier?
Oh
Yeah.
Ugh.
I mean, I'm not saying, yeah, I've seen it, but yeah, I'm aware of it.
I think every swole guy has been contracted to do one of those movies at one point or
Oh
another.
no, what was Hulk Hogan's one? He had one.
Yeah, I was just gonna bring him up.
Mr. Nanny? Mr. Nanny, I think.
Mr. Nanny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And The Rock did the Tooth Fairy movie too. So
Didn't he?
Yeah.
Christ.
Wasn't
John
Hogan
Cena
also
next?
an alien or something?
probably.
Yeah, probably.
I remember him being like in the previews of like a VHS tape that I used to watch like over and over again. I can't remember what it's called, but he was like some sort of alien.
Hulk Hogan.
You mean
Yeah.
like Suburban Commando?
Oh yeah.
Is that the one
Yeah.
with Christopher Lloyd, like Commander Cruz himself?
I was frozen today.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Walt Koenig says Kindergarten Cop had Admiral Cornwell in it.
Wow.
Admiral Cornwell,
Really?
Yeah.
Admiral Cornwell, Jane Brooke, was in a series, a very short-run series called John Doe, sometime in like the early 2000s. And it's the guy, I forget his actor's name, it's the guy from Prison Break. He doesn't have his memory, so he doesn't know who he is, but he has all the combined knowledge of anyone in the world. So he can tell you like how many people live in this country, or he can tell you how many miles to the next star, whatever. So he's like the super
Doing
genius.
this kidney stone, got it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's trying to figure out who he is. And my
Wentworth
dad really
Miller.
got into that show. It was a good show, but they
Chris
it only
Redfield
lasted
himself,
like
yeah.
one season.
Good reference.
Yeah, that reminds me of the show The Pretender, which was
Good one.
the other time before Subway or the Gallery of Jewelry. The other person sharing my first name that was of note.
Big?
Yes.
Mr. Big. Tom Hanks.
It was Tom Hanks, then the Paul Gilbert band, and then me. So,
I feel like I've skipped 3 conversations. I'm like, what the fuck?
No. I have to ask, and because I feel like this is somewhat of a niche show, but I enjoyed it. Have any of you watched the Netflix Lost in Space?
No, not yet.
No, I heard it's very good though.
Yeah.
It's only 3 seasons. It just wrapped up, but I enjoyed it. It doesn't really have any like big name actors or actresses as far as I'm concerned, but I really enjoyed it. It's a good reimagining of that concept. So
Did you ever see
it's on Netflix in the US. I don't know where it is
it's
in the
Netflix
UK.
here as well, I think. But did you ever see?
Yeah, Netflix. Yeah.
The film with Joey and Heather Graham.
Dude.
I can't accept any Lost in Spaces without Matt LeBlanc in it. So, you know.
That's on
Oh.
the blog, yeah.
Maybe he had a cameo. I don't know.
I could do a half hour on that movie because that was one of the few VHSs I had growing up. So I watched the thing a billion times. And so after I got married, I thought, that's a movie my wife and I haven't seen together. We'll go back and watch that. I remember that being a good movie. and she was okay with Star Trek and stuff too. So we go back and we watch that movie together. And the first 40 minutes are kind of okay.
Yeah.
That thing nosedives so freaking hard. By the end of that, I'm like, please, can I turn off the television? It was.
Are you telling me you didn't enjoy Spider Lord Dr. Smith?
No. It's the.
What about William Hurt sounding like he's anesthetized? Like, I don't understand.
The innocence of youth made me think that was a classic or something.
I'm going to have to rewatch this now.
The Mr. Smith in the Netflix one is gender bent.
Oh,
Miss Dr. Smith.
Yeah.
And she is devious. Like it's pretty bad. Like she's so hateable. It's crazy. It's like, how are you getting away with all this stuff? How has no one caught on to you yet?
To be fair, that's like wasn't that the entire reason Lost in Space got any traction at all in the original was because the guy playing Dr. Smith in the original 60s show was just so over the top that everyone loved him.
It's kind of the.
And then they just turned into the wacky Dr. Smith show, basically.
It's the template for Dr. Chaotica, isn't it? Essentially. That
yeah. Well, make them merciless also.
I watched a couple episodes of the 60s version, but the only scene I remember is they land on a planet, and there's a sentient slot machine that chases them around the planet, and it has a laser built into the top that fires at them. And I'm like, this is either great or awful, but I remember that episode, so.
That makes Turnabout Intruder sound like sophisticated.
Lost in Space, the Royale.
Around the sentient pachinko machine.
Anyway, the fact that Gary Oldman was in the movie, I think, is what made most people watch it.
It was Gary Oldman, wow.
You mean no one was watching for Heather Graham?
Well, actually, no, I take it back. It's 50-50. Yeah. But I watched for Gary Oldman.
Felicity Shagwell herself.
Yeah.
And Dr. Molly Clark.
Gary Shagwell.
Dr. Molly Clark. Thank you, stars. I knew I'd like you.
Yeah. I think my favorite Molly Clark moment is when she's talking with Elliot and she's like, I can pinpoint exactly what it is about you that you hate about the most about yourself. And she's like, that's ridiculous. There's no way you can eyebrows. And she just turns and walk away, and then JD's like, "What was you talking?" And then just turns back, and she's like, mascara dripping all the way down her face, just honking tears. And it's like
Scrubs is a genius show. Like that is
the writing is so good.
It's so good. Yeah. Like I could. That's the show when I was in university that I would have on repeat in the background all the time. Like Scrubs. All the time. I should rewatch it.
It's a tier 6 show for me. Sorry, guys.
Really?
Oh,
it's got Dr. Paul Stubbs in it.
No, I mean it has its moments, but I would not sit down and marathon it. My wife has done, so I've heard. I watched pretty much every episode osmosisly.
That's fine. You just can't appreciate Dr. Crocs. That's fine. It's like it's
genius.
It would have been tier 8 without Heather Graham, so what can I say?
That's fair enough.
What I love is all these shows that are like super popular that people are now streaming now. They all now have rewatch podcasts. So I'm listening to all of those and rewatching them, including Timeline Talks, of course.
Should we start our own podcast?
Yeah.
Rewatch ourselves. Man, this episode's shit.
What are you talking about?
The writing on this was garbage.
Yeah, that's always true.
Yeah, I was going through a rough patch this time in my life. I was drinking heavily. Oh, wait, that's every time.
The best part about Timelines Talks, the podcast, is there are no ads. I don't have to skip them.
Yet.
Apart from the beer ads are really aggressive.
I enjoy that.
I would do like a Lost in Space rewatch with you guys and just heckle the shit out of it.
We should.
Yeah, that's prime riffing material,
like
really.
Did I ever tell you guys when I was back in uni? I came up with an idea and I really wanted to do it, but I could never find willing participants. But I think I did tell you about it, and it's called I called it the Great Galactic Roulette. And basically, I'd basically have a sheet full of different shows and I'd have a dice roll, and we'd roll the dice to see which series we'd watch next, and we sort of go through it different ways. Boy. Yeah, and obviously some things you watch sequential. Or
some real winners and losers in that, I can imagine.
You could definitely roll the dice and get some trash or get something quite good, but I kind of thought that would be quite a cool idea, but I could never find it. This is an idea. Which I've just told to everyone.
You could go even more granular with that and not have it be what series are we watching next, just like have it be a gigantic slot machine, and it could be any episode of any series, and you just have to watch it hold right there.
Yeah, like you could do one roll for the series, and then you have another random for the number of episodes in that series. Just do an RNG on.
I like this a lot.
Yeah.
There's a good chance you end up with Code of Honor. I mean, there's a non-zero chance you end up with Code of Honor.
Like, if you're watching something terrible together, that's great. It's when you get the kind of the middle of the road episodes of like Enterprise from Series 2 or something. You just kind of
it's a moment where like you have like your big list of things, and it's like you've got like Battlestar Galactica on there twice, and it's like you roll the dice and it says, "Oh, Battlestar Galactica, 1978," and everyone's like,
no, even worse, 1980 or something like that.
Yeah, there you go. That's the one.
We did rewatch the Voyager episode Threshold together, and it was probably better than watching it alone. I would say.
Yeah, I wouldn't have watched it alone by choice.
Just realizing how much Janeway is trying to chat up Paris the entire episode.
Yeah, it was playing up there.
Yeah, we should do that.
Subtlety, it's just like I feel like watching, especially 90s Star Trek, it really does feel like that.
God, I'd love a pepperoni pizza with Canarian olives right now. I'm starving.
Thank you. It reminds me of that Garth Marenghi's Dark Place quote. It's like, I know writers who use subtext and subtlety, and they're all cowards. It's like Star Trek, especially in the 90s, is very much just that. There's no subtlety at all.
I love Dark Place. It's such a bizarre but good show. It's like, the phrase like, it's in the water.
This is going to be a confusing question, but Stars, are you wearing a Stars t-shirt, STARS?
No, I'm actually wearing an Xavier Institute.
Oh, okay. I just got like the circle logo, and I wasn't sure.
No,
I'm sure you have one if you don't have one.
I should get some more Resident Evil shirts, honestly.
You had a RE4 Merchant one, I think, right?
Yeah, and I've got an RE2 one where it's like Neon trying to type on a typewriter, and he's surrounded by every enemy in the game, pointing at his insecurities.
Damn liquors.
Hey, man.
And on the
boundaries.
I am wearing a T-shirt from Chewy's, a Mexican food restaurant chain. In the
I enjoy Chewy's. My wife thinks it's too
opinions on tacos.
Yeah, I'm wearing a Shroot Farms t-shirt.
Fair.
I'm wearing Pink Floyd. There you go.
There you go. That's one of my favorite restaurants.
Yeah. I was into Pink Floyd long before I had children. Oh no, that only enforces the point, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know what point you thought you were trying to make there, Jesus, bro.
I think it's like a parrot or something on it. Is that a tardigrade?
It is indeed, actually.
Oh, amazing!
Wow.
Cute.
It is.
Everyone don't make appearance.
Yeah. It's actually it was a gift from my former fleet when my youngest daughter was born.
That's adorable.
A plush tardigrade.
Here's a
That's
microscopic water bear. If it was a real life thing and the size of a man, it would eat your face off.
I mean, Ripper did do that.
Several
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you for this demonstration, Small Big.
Small, big.
Small Big,
Just
medium
medium?
Big, and then Big Big. And there's Big McLark Huge.
All going on
I
a
swear
little
he's like a little doppelganger of big.
And then there's just Beyond Huge. That's
Beyond huge. Is that his?
Oh,
Is that Big
that's
Dad?
good.
That's good.
There you go.
There's the real talent.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. I'm afraid I have to bow out. Cause
Yeah, I think it's time to probably call this one.
Thanks for letting me on for a
So we
second.
gotta stop.
Yeah, we
Oh,
literally
sure.
wouldn't. This is good. We should do this again. Definitely.
Yeah, it's a good
So
fun.
it was half about talking Mexican food and then half about actual Trek, so that was pretty good.
Missed the Mexican food part.
And
Oh, you-
Portuguese food.
Yeah. Oh, and
Yeah, you missed the idol having building material as a lasagna conversation. I think.
Listen, you've got to get builder's grade materials, otherwise it's just not as delicious.
We'll timestamp this by food pyramid structure.
yeah. Just don't eat your chicken wings with ranch, or I will kick and ban you from
No.
just life.
I've never had
I love
ranch.
it.
I've never had ranch. I don't think. Can we get
It's not really a massive thing over here in the
Yeah,
UK.
I'm sure you can get ranch dressing in
I'll
the
have
UK.
to try.
It's probably in the American food section.
Yes,
so
but does anyone
Jonas and I are both from Buffalo, and they are like the originators of the chicken wings. So if you have not had chicken wings yet,
Not the buffaloing?
well, they're like the same thing basically. It's just maybe
Yeah.
the flavoring's a little different.
Okay.
But they had the pizza and wings in Buffalo are I still miss them to this
Love
day.
wings.
So
I could just give me
Yeah.
lots of wings. I could just destroy them all. Yum, yum,
Yeah.
yum.
Oh, and I just found out something else interesting from our Buffalo roots is Susie Plaxon was actually born in Buffalo, which neither of us knew that I discovered today.
Now No Name
Yeah.
Neighbors has to make a pilgrimage there.
You should.
Yeah.
It is the time to go see
And
the Susie.
I knew that I knew I liked her.
Yeah. She got that buffalo energy. Alright,
We
I
all-
gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
I need like a
Gotta go.
shower
Let's
and
stop
to
this.
just...
Bye, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
need a
first.
shower too, man.
Yep. Thanks for everyone joining us. in
Have a
chat,
good one,
and,
guys.
thanks for popping in, guys, for our complete nonsense.
Ah!
Lots of nonsense. We love it. We'll do it again. When next time Auto's got another quarantine and lonely, we'll get together and talk about it.
That's a good
Aw.
idea.
If I don't
Wow.
drag you guys kicking and screaming, it just doesn't happen. So I'm
He's not wrong.
tutting behind everyone. I'm like, come on, guys, let's do it tonight, tomorrow night.
Don't forget to flip your shuttles.
Oh shit.
Don't remember. Don't forget.
Yeah.
Right. Laters, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Toodaloo.